G'day everyone, I'm the Michael Kimasabi, the man with the plan from the land down under. I'm here with my boy, Aardvark Creations, and we're going to be doing another live design stream. So, say g'day, mate.
G'day. Hey, buddy, you got a problem there with your kangaroo or something?
Kangaroos have a problem with us. It's not the other way around. We're good with them, but they see us and
that's my best attempt at an Australian. Actually, when I was in Japan, I went to this park where there was tons and tons of deer in a city called Nara. Deer just roam free throughout the city. And I was, trying to get a selfie with one of the deers. And I heard behind me this voice go, "Fucking hell, it's shitting all over itself." And I turned around and it was some Australian guy watching a deer taking a dump.
You're like, oh, I know that accent.
Unfortunately. Well, it was the content rather than the it was,
I mean, it's you could say that in an American accent and someone would go, hold on, that sounds like something an Australian would say.
Yeah,
the accent's wrong, but
yeah.
So you got a comic book coming out up in the not too distant future.
I hope so.
Yeah, you hope so. I mean, you've got a bunch of pages drawn for it. It's looking really good. I've read the script. I know it's a great script. I know it's a great character. It's part of a great story that you're telling, a series, multiple floppies over a period of time. It's very much that monthly format. You used to be able to pick up a comic book and get a whole story from beginning to end. You don't seem to get that so much anymore. I'm trying to urge CG to move back towards that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And because a lot of the shortcomings of the books that I review are that they're written as if it's going to be the next book's going to come out next month, and it just isn't. The next book's going to come out in 6 months if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about your stories, is that they are self-contained. They're part of a bigger mythos, but you can quite easily get a whole story out of them.
Well, that's how comics were originally written. Like the idea of a graphic novel. I mean, you could argue the Bayeux Tapestry was the first ever graphic novel, but the idea of a conventional kind of graphic novel as we know it today is relatively new in terms of. But I can understand why people want to do large kind of stories in one book, because we look at the movie industry, and how many years between Mission Impossibles, how many years between. But the argument there is that superhero movies nowadays come out within months of each other.
Yeah, they've got this non-stop stream of superhero content. It's not, Doctor Strange, and then there's 2 years, and there's another Doctor Strange. But in between that 2 years, there's so many more other movies coming out. And
there's stories that kind of tangentially, adjacently further the story that's in Doctor Strange,
I mean, it's a smart format. It's one that I think people are getting a little bit of fatigue with, getting a bit sick of, and some people are downright pushing back against it, especially considering what it's done to, it's done nothing for the comic book industry. Then comics are not doing better because of the movies. You think they would, but they're just simply not. They're demonstrably not.
Would you argue, though, that Would you argue that it's the fault of the movies that they're not drawing eyes to the comics?
No, absolutely not. It's the fault of the creators for not capitalizing on it.
Yeah, because I've been arguing, because I was in a Discord server a few years ago. I can't remember whose or what, but they were talking about comics, and I said this. I said, "There's not enough, there's not enough kind of callback to the MCU." And people are saying, "Well, we don't want synergy. We're sick of synergy." And then I said, "Well, it doesn't have to be in 616.
Right.
You could basically do the Ultimates again, but do it more in line with the MCU. Maybe even make it canon to the MCU." And you could do stories from in between the movies that are basically B canon. They get they get overwritten if the movies contradict it. That kind of. And this guy was like, "Oh, well, that's a stupid idea because we already did that with Ultimates, and Ultimate failed." Did it really fail? Because
it
made a lot of money back in the day, and it gave you a lot of characters and a lot of interpretations that have stuck.
Yeah,
and a lot of
didn't
stuff,
it just run its course? Really?
Yeah,
if anything.
Everyone. I don't know. Yeah, and I think that's what they should have done. And absolutely. I think there was possibly not even enough synergy, because people go see Iron Man and then they say, "Oh, I want to read about Tony Stark," and then you go into the store, you see Riri Williams, or you see Arno Stark.
You're trying to work out what is that? Because the MCU gave everybody like this bite-sized, neatly packaged version of the Marvel universe without all the history. It's for a lot of these people, it was the first time. Iron Man was not a household name. So to know that there's the Iron Man that we've got now, I'm pretty sure is still the aged up 20-year-old alternate version that come in to kill the version of Tony Stark that this is not the Iron Man in Iron Man 1 is not the Tony Stark we have now. No. They've forgotten about it. They're sort of semi-retconned it, but there was a point where young teenage Iron Man come in and killed the original Iron Man and took it was a bad storyline. It needed to be ignored. It needed to be forgotten about, but it was never really undone. A bit like how they've retconned Captain America now to be the real Captain America and not the one that's still locked up somewhere, still brainwashed by Hydra, by the Cosmic Cube. That's still really you can add some bullshit after the fact, but at the time, the Captain America that came out of him and knocked him out and won the fight was an idealized version from somebody else's mind. It wasn't really Captain America. If you're going to be honest about it all, we've got this physical simulacrum sort of humanoid character running around pretending to be Captain America, but he's not, and the real one's still locked up. But they won't ever deal with that. And what I'm saying is that the comic book universe has got so much history that it's going to be really difficult for newbies to come in and pick up on that. Like you said, Arno Stark and all this sort of stuff. Who is this guy? I just want to read about this was a playboy billionaire philanthropist, to quote Robert Downey Jr. And that's what this MCU version of MCU in the comics should have been. It was a missed opportunity. I can't believe they just sat on it. And for woke points, just you could have had all the gender swap, race swap characters in the mainstream still, and then had this MCU version that the people who want to read about these characters for the first time could come and enjoy.
Yeah. And you make them sort of PG-13 so that both adults and kids can enjoy them.
Mm-hmm.
And and put them in supermarkets.
Yes,
that was another. As much as I want comic book stores to be successful, the comic book stores become successful by the comics being successful, if you know what I mean.
So
if you can get Iron Man, let's say you put Iron Man, Captain America, Thor in Walmart or Target or whatever, right? People pick up the Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America comics. They read them, and then they go to Walmart and they want to get Spider-Man, right? And it's not there. They'll go to the comic book store. That's how you draw,
Yeah,
that's how I would do it, at least. And then you're not depriving the comic book store of, their necessary goods or whatever. But you're also, in fact, you're actually luring people to the comic book stores by doing that method, I would say.
Look at Dean's got a good point. Batman is actually a Batman clone from a machine Bruce built before he died in Endgame. It's if you take all the comics as canon, I don't like Bendis pushing for this non-canon version of comic books, but if you take everything as canon, everybody's died, everybody's come back. When you run these characters for so long, it's inevitable.
Yeah, and everything returns to zero. Eventually the X-Men are going to go back to being in a school, but not going to be genocidal mutant supremacists like they are now. They're going to go back to being teenagers and teachers in a school. One would assume. But that's people go see an X-Men movie, obviously an X-Men movie on the TV or on streaming or whatever, and then they say, "Oh, I like the X-Men. I want to go see the comics," and they're all on some island where they're having orgies and
Yeah.
reanimating the dead.
Yeah, what do you do with that?
Like, I don't know. Yeah.
And this is what I was talking about the other day with Dirk and Murph, was the idea that these all these superhero characters have a baseline, have a Simpsons-like reset. It's like, Superman, Truth, Justice, The American Way, Doomed Planet, Rocket-Head Infant, Kindly Couple, Lois and Metropolis. Like, if you hit those notes, you've got Superman. Batman, I said, is even simpler. It's murder in the alleyway, gunshots, Pearl hitting the flagstone, cobblestone. Like that's Batman. You get that. Swearing vengeance, bat crashing through the window. I mean, you don't even need the bat crashing through the window, but it's pretty iconic. So, hopefully they'll be able to return to these. But when I guess it is telling that I think a lot of the best stories that these characters have are almost out of continuity stories, or they're limited runs that
Elseworlds and stuff like that.
And people say, what's the best Daredevil story ever? They go, oh, Miller's Run. I'm like, well, that was 35 years ago. I mean, that's pretty sad if in 35 years nothing has surpassed that.
Yeah. Well, the one everyone brings up is Court of Owls, isn't it?
Yeah. I know Dean's the chat. He loves Court of Owls.
Yeah. But, like, that's the other thing is Marvel, the MCU, Marvel and Marvel Entertainment. Is Marvel Entertainment the movies? Or is that the comics? Because there's two divisions. Marvel Studios, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Marvel Studios have had to resort to using the, all new, all different Marvel characters that only came out about 10 years ago.
Very interesting to see how that does, because I don't think it's going to do well. I think there's only so much. Like, we're getting fatigue already, and on top of fatigue, you're bringing in these non-classic versions of the characters that don't have the longevity.
Yeah, well, there's two arguments to look at it. Is one, you could possibly say, well, these are not going to be the characters from 616. These are going to be effectively completely new characters that have just got the name, just got the IP. Like Kamala Khan, from what I understand, is not going to be stretchy.
Yeah, I heard that. She's got like some magical bracelet that gives her Green Lantern powers.
She's going to have Green Lantern powers. Which, if I was a girl, I would think that would be more appealing than having big ugly hands.
It's a weird choice. It was a weird choice to give her those stretchy grow powers. They're so. I just don't know what the reasoning was there, because they're so visually unappealing. They're not like Reed Richards is the least cool member of the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I remember I was trying to explain to a kid, how the Fantastic Four are cool, and he was like, "What are their powers?" And I said, "Well, the Human Torch can light on fire and fly, and the Thing is like a Hulk, but he's made out of bricks." And Invisible Woman can go invisible and make force fields. And Mr. Fantastic is... I felt like I didn't want to say, like, stretchy.
Yeah.
So I said he's like a super genius. He's like 10 times smarter than Iron Man. Which is, true.
It is true.
Like
I liked it when they almost codified the idea that the different geniuses were good at their own thing. Charles is good at, psychology, and Iron Man's good at engineering, mechanics. Reed Richards is good at everything. And they said that Hank Pym, they called him the wizard, the magician of the science, because he did the stuff that nobody else thought was possible. He's like, yes, let's make a shrinking particle. And
they called him the scientist supreme.
Yeah.
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I like that. I thought they put a bit of respect. I like my boy Hank Pym. I like him from West Coast Avengers, when he was just running around in like this red jumpsuit. Didn't even use a superhero code name. He's like, no, I'm beyond all that. I'm just shrinking shit, bitches. And he'd have every weapon, every gear, every bit of he's a good character.
How many names has he had? He's been he's been Ant-Man. He's been Yellow Jacket.
Yeah.
Giant Man.
Yeah.
Giant Ant-Man. He's been Black Ant, I think.
Okay.
When he turned evil again, they made him Black Ant. I might be wrong. That might be Eric O'Grady. I'm not sure.
was going to say g'day to the chat real quick. G'day, Replicant, first here. Thanks for turning up. Dave Brink's here. Fantastic to see you, Dave, the creator of Perfect 10, one of the best indie books I've read. Chris Fisk is here, name that I'm seeing more and more lately. Chris, you got a book coming out, don't you, mate? I'm sure I saw somebody saying they wanted to get you on this show to talk about your upcoming book. So that's check that out. Go check out Chris on Twitter and check out his project, Plastic Man.
Just going to reply to Genuine Comics if you want to put your cursor over Genuine's comment.
Sure.
It's very difficult to find a good superhero name for a stretchy character. A female stretchy character called Flexibel.
Did I get it?
Flexible.
That's that. Especially if it's like 1940s and she's got the little domino mask and she's got like the I don't know what you call it, like the little victory haircut, little peaks at the bottom. You know, like
Elastigirl is another good name from Incredibles. Elastigirl. That's a good one. Yeah.
So how do you think this
Cardinal?
Yeah, g'day Ryan. How you going, mate? Awesome is the goal, isn't it? That's where we want to be. We all want to be at awesome. 24 Eyes is here. G'day, mate.
I think the loincloth needs to be made to look more like chains because it looks a bit like just a bush. And possibly the jetpack a bit bigger.
Yep. Can do.
What would you say? What does chat think?
I mean, well, they can't see the original sketch.
Do you want to bring it up?
I can if you're okay with it.
I'm okay with it. I think it's so bad, but it's good.
All right. And now, like, what about the proportions? Because the proportions on your guy is a bit more alien.
There we go. Look at that. Look at that work of artistic genius, fellas.
You know, like you got to when you got good source material, guys. Is very, very sort of thing.
That was done on a writing pad on my breaking work, just as a defense.
It does look like a chainmail merkin.
It looks like a chainmail merkin.
Yeah,
I was going for one of those like Roman things.
Yeah, I can do that. I can like an armored tabard. Sure, I prefer that anyway. I just misread it. That's okay. We can do that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
And
I did want a bit more. Yeah. I'm sure, but like you do your style, and then the artist when he gets given it, he makes it kind of more kind of cartoony the way I kind of envision it. So I'll send over like my original sketches with this, just so he knows the colors and stuff that I intended, and that kind of thing. But I have no idea what inspired this guy. The head was the main thing. I had this idea for like a ridged kind of protuberance. And,
I mean, where does any of it come from? That's a big conversation, that one, and one that I don't think a lot of people want to have. How do I do that again? Control Shift T, I think. Transform again. There we go.
Yeah, I think
working smarter, not harder.
Yeah, cool. Like I want this gang to kind of look like they look like, imagine Frieza's henchmen, but they've all been like trapped on some barren planet for, because I love that Dragon Ball style alien design,
Do you want them like round bits of armor, or do you want them as like little square plates?
Let's stick with them being like chains,
okay.
But mix of both, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, change are a bit to draw as all, like for your artist's sake.
Yeah,
like I look at Todd McFarlane drawing Spawn. I'm like, you can tell he designed that for him to draw.
Yeah,
and then he passed it on to Greg Capullo. I bet Greg Capullo is still cursing him out to this day.
There doesn't need to be too much detail on these guys. They are just background characters. They are all going to have names though, because I think every kind of character in this sort of situation should be given a name. Because if people like the design and if people think it's cool and if people want to see more of that character or whatever, you can. Yeah. You've already from the get-go got like a foundation there.
Well, it's good thinking. I remember when no, I don't remember actually happening. I remember reading about it because I wasn't even born yet. But in Flash Gordon, when Prince, I want to say like Vartos something, he used to be a bad guy, so he's drawn as like this, yellow-skinned, pointy-eared Mongolian dude. And then when he changed sides and joined Flash's side and became a good guy, all of a sudden he's like a handsome blonde white guy. And I don't know if there's much outrage at the time or if people cared or people even noticed. This is newspaper strip sort of thing, but if you plan for it from the beginning, I got to wonder, did old mate who made Dragon Ball, was he counting on Vegeta becoming popular? Was he always planning on turning Vegeta good? Because I don't know. I was watching it, and I've only watched probably about 20 animes in my entire life, not even all the way through, or short ones like Gungrave that have got like 4 or 6 episodes. I'm like, yep, I'm counting that one. That's a whole one finished.
Yeah,
and I don't watch these long ones like Attack on Titan and stuff that go on for like 8 seasons. And even I was watching that, not knowing a whole lot about the conventions of anime and manga and that sort of thing. Back in the 90s when Dragon Ball was on Australian TV, I remember thinking this Vegeta guy, like I could see him coming back and changing sides. He seems to be more worried about being strong and winning the fight than about any particular agenda. I could see his desire to be strong becoming his main character motivation, and because of that, he's able to switch sides. Piccolo had already switched sides in the show. He'd gone from being a bad guy to a good guy, and I just thought this is something I could see happening, and then it did.
That's kind of the norm in anime a lot of the time, bad guys. Yeah, and especially in like shonen anime, a lot of the time the bad guys become... that chainmail is much better. Cool. Quite often the bad guys become good guys. Like it happened in Naruto with pretty much every villain that he faced. Yeah. And it happened in Dragon Ball with Majin Buu. Vegeta is, obviously, Piccolo.
Which in itself is like a bigger victory. So I could beat you and put you in prison. I could put you in Arkham Asylum again, or you could be so inspired by my example, so motivated to action, you actually become a good guy and get on the right side of things. Like that's a hell of a victory for the hero, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's like I say, if you get over with the fans, then turn them face. Wrestling math applies to all forms of entertainment.
I knew as soon as I drew that first line of the chainmail right in the middle there, because I wanted it to be an odd number, so you have to start with your middle one and then go either side. I drew. I'm like, that looks like this huge long kebab dick, and sure enough, my boy Dean didn't let me down.
I never thought that in my entire life. I just didn't think of anything lewd. If that says anything about me. If it says anything about you for thinking like that, you dirty old man.
Piccolo was my favorite for a long time. I'm disappointed that he got sidelined. I think he's one of the more interesting ones. I had a friend who's right into Dragon Ball, like unhealthily so, and his thing was that he wanted characters to be able to be specialized. Like if Goku's the all-rounder, then Piccolo's the guy who's got remember that one scene where they've got cameras on them? I think it's before one of the tournaments or something. And there's like reporters filming them, and Piccolo looks at the camera, and the camera splits and explodes, just shatters. And it's like that's a different sort of ability than what we see. Like how would Goku destroy a camera? Would he tap it? Would he touch it? Would he hit it? Would he shoot a little energy blast? I don't know, but could he look at it and make it explode? I don't think so. I think Piccolo operates on a different level. It's like a sideways sort of level where he's able to affect the physical world around him in ways that the others can't. He's almost
mystical.
Almost mystical in a way. And then
because he was Piccolo Demon King. And
so
he was also Kami, who was the protector of Earth. Yeah. And Kami in Japanese means quite literally deity. So but Piccolo does all the kind of... Piccolo fills the sort of Doctor Strange, Doctor Fate kind of role even though he never does any magic. But you do see him like meditating and stuff like that, which is always affiliated with... with mysticism.
They should make him the Captain Marvel, Shazam Captain Marvel. I don't count the other ones. So when there's a magical threat, and there's because Goku's got power, but what if there's some magic force field? Say, sorry, it's magic, Yeah, but I'm really strong. Yeah, but it's magic. Magic doesn't care how strong you are because it's magic. Oh, but just the power of my beliefs is so strong. No, sorry, man, it's magic. Oh, I guess we need Piccolo then. Like, let somebody aside. I know it's an old argument. Let someone aside from Goku do something. And admittedly, I never watched past the halfway through the Buu saga, so there might be, pages and pages, volumes and volumes of other characters being completely successful and being worthwhile and useful. But when you just watch like another Dragon Ball special episode and nobody does anything but Goku, and it's just a holding pattern until Goku gets there, you think like Piccolo and Vegeta are these fantastic characters, and they just never felt like they got to do a lot after a certain point. And I don't know if that's because it was what the fans wanted or I don't know the motivation.
Well, yeah, I think Goku is probably the most popular character still, and with good reason. He is Superman, I'm not saying he's Kal-El, but you know what I mean. He fills the same kind of archetype. Yeah.
To make Vegeta Batman,
I would guess that. Well, there's always the Trinity. But Dragon Ball seems to alternate the third member of the Trinity. So like, there's always the Paragon, the dark kind of broody one, and there's always a sort of like powerhouse, and that role in Marvel's filled by Thor or Hulk. Again, it alternates.
G'day, Corey. I saw you get a friend request on Facebook. I haven't accepted it yet, but I will. I will do that.
I actually did as a writing exercise a few years ago, in like quite a lot of length, just as a writing exercise, just to see if I could do it. I planned out how I would do an MCU style Dragon Ball cinematic universe.
Oh yeah,
where it was, each of the characters kind of got their own movie. Each of the characters got their own movie to, like show what they're up about, show what they're up against, and it would also giving them, how like Ant-Man movies get given, like Iron Man villains,
Yes.
to get like it was kind of like that. It was like characters from characters that aren't really main characters, B characters were facing off with the B villains, like Garlic Jr. and Red Ribbon Army and stuff like that. Like, one of the movies I wrote was actually, I didn't write the movie. I wrote like 5 bullet points,
Yeah, like a treatment.
Yeah, but it was like, it was pre-androids, like Tien, Krillin, Yamcha, and somebody else infiltrated what was basically North Korea. And I made the Red Ribbon Army like a North Korea where they were experimenting on making cyborgs and stuff like that, which is where Dr. Gero was, which is where the androids come from. So that there was sort of like, because that's kind of like how, because if that was the MCU, they would do something kind of like that. They would put it like the 10 Rings. They made the 10 Rings. The Mandarin originally. There's something different now, but you made them. They made them. What's the word I'm looking for? He basically made them an ersatz Taliban.
Yeah. Do you want this top of this guy's head to be more out? See how your one it's more.
Yeah, I kind of saw him as being sort of on the right on the page it does say Frankenstein style.
Yeah. I just saw that.
Yeah.
You sort of interpret something and then you go back and you look and you go, no, hold on. That was a deliberate choice. You've deliberately done.
Yeah. It took me a few attempts actually to get that head shape the way I wanted it to be. And then afterwards I thought, oh shit, wait, he's in space, he needs a helmet. So I gave him like a dome.
We got Rich Halea, we got B Roses here, some great people turning up in the chat today. Everyone, thanks for being here. Just doing a bit of design with my boy Aardvark Creations, trying to get some henchmen put together for his upcoming comic.
I might actually do that on my channel when I get it up and running. Like sort of explain what my Dragon Ball cinematic universe would have looked like.
I think that's a valid. Yeah, people would like to hear that.
Yeah.
Somebody pointed out to me these videos that people were making, and it's essentially it's like Elseworlds Pokemon. Pokemon sort of thing to me. It's like if you like it, that's cool. It's not.
Hey, Crazy Mad.
G'day, Crazy Mad. Thanks for showing up, brother. But if you like it, that's cool. It's not for me. I don't want it to not exist. You remember I don't know, it might be different in England. In high school, in America and Australia, there's these people that are just like really down on football. And like what we call football is different than what the Americans call football, but it's still a pretty big deal.
So hold on, wait. People in America who are down on NFL-style football, gridiron football, and people in Australia who are down on Aussie
NRL
rules.
or AFL,
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, there's people like that. There's people like that in England, but with soccer.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, it's such a waste of time. It's so dumb. Only meatheads like it. Only idiots like it. I'm like, why do you care how other people spend their time? It's not destructive. It's not hurtful. They get joy out of it. It's an industry.
You know where that comes from. It's a feeling of I don't want to It's a feeling of inadequacy.
Sure.
I think that's just about done, that, mate.
All right, cool. Let's jump on to the next one then.
All right.
I'll just merge that layer down. Hide that. And let's
that comes from a feeling of inadequacy, and I'm not. 100%. When I was in school, there was a boy, and he was otherwise very, very timid, very, very quiet, very, very nice young guy. He got perfect grades, but he just wasn't good at PE. And it was. I remember I was kind of, I was like a B or C at PA. I was never.
Not great, but not terrible.
Yeah, but I didn't have this sort of hatred of it,
No.
And this guy was. I remember we were playing football, and I'd give him pointers. I'd say oh man, pass with the side of your foot, mate. You kick in with the front of your foot, and he'd go, fuck off, you fucking bastard. He'd get really angry at me, and it'd be like, bloody hell, I'm trying to help you, lads.
Yeah.
And that always stuck with me. He just
this the sheer loathing he had for the whole wicket.
And that's where it kind of struck me. He didn't like it because he wasn't good at it, and it was probably the only thing he wasn't good at, and so he carried that around with him. People like that. I used to do Warhammer 40k in school when I was in what you would call middle school, what Americans would call middle school. I used to do Warhammer 40k, and I was so embarrassed about that. I didn't want everybody to know that I did it. Because if I did, I would have got bullied for it. Which is sort of like the inverse of that. It's like what the popular.
That's right.
Because they didn't have. I'm not saying that they didn't have the ability to do it. A lot of them probably did. It's just that they sort of perceived it as, it's a waste of time. Why are you doing that for? And
that's funny because then their mentality is, why are you doing that? Why aren't you smoking pot or one of the other things, listening to music or playing sports or working out or hanging out or drinking or one of the other subcultures,
chasing girls. Yeah.
You're playing Warhammer, you probably didn't have a lot of options when it came to chasing girls in the first place.
No, but when you're an adult, it doesn't really.
It doesn't.
But it doesn't really factor in. But it's certainly something that girls don't want to be seen with a guy who does that. Maybe some of them might. Maybe some of them might not care. But I think on average, they don't really. It's not really something that they care for. But there are people who are proper down on it. And I remember once I was in the Games Workshop, and there was a group of lads, skater boys, and they would riding past on their skateboards and shouting things into the shop and harassing the kids who were going in and out, and that sort of thing. You got Zaid in chat.
Yeah,
Zaid, check. Hail.
G'day, mate.
Good night.
He's I think Lost Pages 2 is it wrapping up soon, mate? I think it's getting closer to the end.
I got the Indiegogo thing. Yeah, I've got to get a move on and put an order in for it.
I'm not missing that. It's Lost Pages 1 was one of my favorite books of the year, and I'm definitely going to get on Lost Pages 2. And like I've said before, I don't back books physically that don't have my name in the credits somewhere. Lost Pages is the first book I'm going to back physically from CG, from indie, whatever. That's just because of the merits of the book itself, not because of like I backed The Embrace because Dean's my boy, but it also has my name in it as the editor.
Yeah.
So I got some ulterior motivation. Now with this guy's face, do you want a humanoid nose? Do you want like a little nostril nose?
He's got a breathing mask on, so
he does. So that covers up.
Did I put see-through mask on there? Yeah, I did.
It looks like see-through. Do you want see-through, or do you want something more?
It says on the side see-through breather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bit like Merman, sort of.
I don't want him to be a man. I want him to be. Although how you just did it looked good. No, yeah, that'll do.
Okay.
Almost like a skeleton. Yeah, that's good.
Oh, yep. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. This is what happens when you're bored and work and you've had you've had a one too many French vanilla coffees from the coffee machine.
I cannot enjoy coffee when I'm out. The only coffees I like are the ones. My missus used to be a barista, so she makes lovely coffees, and I have any that are out, and they always disappoint me. I go to someone's place. You want a coffee? Oh. No, I'll have tea if you got it. I'll never have a coffee anywhere else because it just doesn't measure up. She used to work at a pizza shop, so I'm a bit spoiled for pizza too. She makes a wicked pizza.
Well, I drank coffee once in my life before the story I'm about to tell. I drank it and I got so terribly sick. I got so terribly sick. I vowed never to drink coffee ever again in my entire life.
It's funny how that happens.
Yeah, and then. I would say about 7 years later, I was in South Korea. I was working in South Korea. I had to travel 2 hours to get to work one day, and I showed up to work, and I was late, and I was very apologetic. I was like, "I'm so sorry for Subway," and I'm so sorry for. Sorry, before you go any further, I imagine this guy being kind of diminutive.
Okay, well. Let me just try one thing. If you like it, we'll go with it. If you don't, I'll make it less bulky. So if we do like Puck, Puck from Alpha Flight, if you do like Puck type proportions on him,
okay,
to make him diminutive.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Yeah,
okay.
go for it. So anyway, I got to work and I was like, talking to the boss. And I was, I'm so sorry, because work culture over there is different, And she went, oh, don't worry, it's completely fine. Don't worry about it. And she disappeared for 20 minutes, and I thought, oh God, she's calling human resources. Oh God, she's gonna put me on blast. She comes back 20 minutes later. She's got a giant cup of venti, what we would call venti iced coffee, iced Americano, venti.
Mm-hmm.
And in Korea, if you were given food, if you were given a drink, but specifically by a Korean, you have to drink it.
Yeah.
And you have to do it in front of them.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're insulting them.
She knew that you hated coffee and she wanted to punish you for that.
No, she didn't know. She didn't know I hated coffee. I guess she just assumed I drank coffee because drinking coffee is the norm,
She probably thought you're American. I'm sure they can't tell the difference.
No, she didn't. She knew. She was from Seattle, so she knew.
Oh, right. There you go.
And, but I was like, oh God, I've got to drink this enormous cup of coffee. I genuinely was like, saying Hail Marys. I thought I was going to die. And that day was the best day I had ever worked in my whole life. I was so productive. I was so, energetic. I was so I had this zest for doing my job. And after then I kind of, every day I was completely hooked. Black Rose, Pecan was an underrated DBZ character. Yeah, I completely agree. I would have folded him into the storyline as a sort of as another member of the Z Warriors, and then that's what I did. That's what I did do in my fan wank. What do you call it? DBZ fan cinematic universe, DBZ FCU. Just open a kind of bubbly. You get a bubbly check.
What about some sort of like almost prehensile? Like prehensile toe hands. Is that too ape-like? Do you think
it's a bit too? Don't think it was.
Yeah.
No, I'm not really sure on it.
It's all right. It's all right. It's just
I'm not sold. I'm sorry.
It's all right, man. It's all right, brother.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
I do like how you drew it though, the squat. Yeah. And at the end, we can put all these lads together, and
that'd be cool. Yeah,
you can have like a gang up. I do worry, because I've been on your stream and I have lambasted people who make their aliens just animals, and I'm terrified of that, ever coming out in the things I've drawn. So in the things I've designed,
That's what I was saying earlier. If you get the old Marvel handbooks before they did the binder version, if you get like the original ones and you go through the alien races and they're just like gold humans with an extra eye, gold humans with an extra eye and white hair. It's like they're not alien at all. They're not interesting. It's a real really disappointing at how
there's a line
creativity.
There's a line you've got to there's a sort of line you've got to toe. I'm the kind of inverse. I hate blob monsters. And I hate things that don't make sense from a biological level. And people say, "Oh, well, you're thinking in the Earth. You're thinking in Earth's context. Maybe they come from a planet where they need to have 7 noses.
Nobody needs 7 noses.
One for bad
Each
smells, one for good smells, one for." And it's
we just cut out the middleman.
But that's not how evolution works. If somebody is born with a mutation that gives them 4 noses instead of 5, then one of the noses does the job of two noses. You know what I'm getting at? And I know you don't believe in evolution, but
just leaving that out there.
But if we're playing by that rule book, that's kind of how I see it.
Maybe like long
spindly fingers. Yeah, it works. Yeah.
Just something different. There's no particular reason.
Making them. I suppose maybe maybe we could make them webbed. He could come from an aquatic planet. He has got a snorkel after all. Actually, if he comes from an aquatic planet, I know it's a space snorkel. Yeah, go for it.
Because he can't get his space water while he's in space, so he needs a space snorkel to breathe the space air. It works. I want to give him these things, but there's no way that it'd fit. Like he wouldn't have those with a shirt on.
What are those things?
Like armpit webbing wings.
I see what you mean. Yeah,
it doesn't work because he's got a shirt on. You can't do that.
Yeah. Maybe he had them surgically removed when he became a
space pirate,
space road warrior.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you want on the arms?
But Chris Fisk says 7 noses. Poor fella would suffer around those of IBS. Hey, that's an insult to the IBS community.
Everything's an insult.
Yeah.
You see the trans Amazon in Wonder Woman now?
I haven't, and I'm gonna withhold comment on it until I decide that that's what I want to.
I read the issue. It wasn't apparent. And this my point is that they had to have an article post the book coming out to say, oh, by the way, guys, this character's totally trans. Well, there's no real evidence of it, which maybe was their point. But if it's on Themyscira, it's on this Amazon island, I wouldn't assume that. You know what I mean? I wouldn't assume that a trans woman would be allowed on there. So
I'm going to play devil's advocate. In ancient Greek mythology, the Amazons actually shared the island. There was 2 tribes. There was an all-woman tribe, and there was an all-man tribe.
Well, this has got a whole lot less sexy.
A lot of people don't know about this because it's less sexy. It's less it doesn't really fit the gimmick, But on the other side of Themyscira, or like or maybe like a cousin island, or in the island chain or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the tribe, so I'm gonna have to look it up. So just give me a second while I look this up. We're called like the Gargantes or something. Gagarians. This is
Were they gregarious?
thing. Yep, EANS. Gargarians. That's not something I've just made up.
It sounds like something you just made up.
All right. Well,
I believe it.
Yeah, no. If you look it up on Wikipedia, you will see that it was a thing. Actually, in DC Comics, the Gargarians are an all-male tribe of undead Greek warriors revived by Zeus to serve as male counterparts to the Amazons of Themyscira living on the island of Thalarion. Their king is specially created Wonder Warrior, Achilles Warkiller. So it's not, but that's not the same backstory as the Greek, the actual ancient Greek, story. So who knows?
What do you reckon we should do with the arms?
Gauntlets.
Some sort of gauntlets? They just like bracer gauntlets?
I'm not sure.
Chuck another layer down.
What you've just done there kind of gave me an idea, but I'm not really sure on it. Bandages, like mummy.
Well, that's what I'm sort of going, like this Waterworld-esque Kevin Costner type.
Yeah,
like he's got this. It's all sort of when you leave stuff in the water, it gets threadbare and it starts to come apart, and it's all sort of same as his loincloth. His loincloth's all tattered and everything. And then on top of that, we can just chuck some armory type pieces, some odd armor type pieces maybe that don't necessarily match.
Yeah.
What have I got here?
Yeah,
I think it's telling of Wonder Woman's mythology. They got to constantly reinvent it because they just haven't quite landed on a classic version yet, or a classic version that's profitable enough. Like a lot of people say, where's her Killing Joke? Where's her Man of Steel? Where's her All-Star Superman? Like, why has nobody written All-Star Wonder Woman? We've got All-Star Superman, All-Star Batman, and Robin. Where's All-Star Wonder Woman? I don't know if that could even be written.
I'd say that maybe this is just they're kind of limited by the source material that they're pulling from Wonder Woman. They've got to it's got to be Greek. It's got to be. It doesn't have to be Greek, but I think there's possibly a feeling like there's an obligation to be kind of,
Yeah. Well, I think it's going back to that idea of characters having a base. Baseline, and if you change that too much, if you change her baseline to be not Greek mythology, well, what is she? And it's like the fact they made her Zeus's daughter instead of sculpted from clay. They retcon that. I think that's a big downgrade because the idea that she's created to be perfect and everything. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with that. Being Zeus's daughter, okay, so she's female Hercules. Why do I care?
Yeah.
We've taken away some of what makes her special. There's some great imagery there where people do redesigns of her, and she's like made out of actual marble. Like they sculpted her and she's brought to life, but brought to life like an actual marble statue.
Yeah.
Or there's been times where she suffered mass amount of damage in Elseworlds, and she's like got cracks through her skin and stuff as opposed to blood because she's being undone somehow and made, returned to being her primal form.
That would make her resistant to fire.
Yeah.
Clay gets hardened by fire, doesn't it? By a kiln. Yeah.
What's going on here?
You
happy with that?
The toes, mate.
You don't like the toes?
If he's a fishy fella, he's not going to have. You'd have something more akin to, I would say, like a duck's kind of. Maybe webbed. We'll go easy and just give him webbed toes.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really draw that here.
Or give him boots then.
All right. I feel bad for neglecting the chat, but I can't draw and look at the chat with one. I've only got one monitor.
They're talking about Star Wars and Weebgate. Weebgate.
Well, B Rose is here. We all know he's the most degenerate weeb in all of Comicsgate.
A challenger appears.
Yeah, you might give him a run for his money.
I'm not that. No, I'm not like. I'm not an enormous. I don't really watch that or read that much anime. You know, beyond sort of what I've seen. I like My Hero Academia. That's one I really fell in love with recently. But other than that, you know, it's not really. I'm not really. You know, I don't exclusively watch anime like a lot of people do.
Yeah, we call them degenerates. There you go. So got the two boys there. What has this guy got like an aqua green sort of color for his skin, or has he got red skin?
Oh God, I didn't even think. Well, I don't want it to be too kind of maybe like a salmon pink.
Mm-hmm. That's not too far off what I picked.
Yeah, and then because that goes with the aquatic kind of thing as well as.
But it's not as on the nose as green or blue skin.
Yeah.
For an aquatic character.
Yeah,
so
look like the Mon Calamari in Star Wars. Admiral Akbar. It's a trap.
I'm aware of the good Admiral. I actually had an Admiral Akbar toy as a kid. I didn't know who he was at the time.
I think we need to make that breather look a bit more obviously like a breather.
Okay.
Would you agree?
Yeah, I can do that. Just chuck some more tech on there, some little bits and bobs, and some tubes
maybe like
and stuff.
A color, maybe like yeah.
I mean, we could do like a grey shade on it to show that it's it's not the same color as his skin
and a reflection kind of.
Yep.
So, I'm not really sciencey. Not sciencey. That's not the word I'm looking for. Arty. There we go. I don't know the technical kind of terminology.
If it's people say poor communication or whatever. If I understand what you're saying, it's not poor communication. It's like this tweet that I saw today. It said, "What do you call alternative medicine that works?" Medicine.
Medicine. Yeah.
You just call it medicine because it works. Like it's not alternative. It works. Here we go.
Do you think the snorkel would be in front of or behind?
I wasn't sure. I can put it in front of.
Maybe if we put it in front of, it might make it a bit more obvious to the artist, but it's he's got like mechanical bits and pieces.
Right, yeah.
This is art science replicant, that's right. Color theory is definitely art science because that's physics. You're like things about light and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's very important. And this is how you get this sort of stuff done. Like you sit here and you put an idea out, and the other person goes, "Hey, I'm not feeling it." Okay, what about this? I mean, if nobody says, "Oh, I don't think you should have exposed toes," if nobody says, "Oh, I don't think it should be as bulky" or something, like you don't know. You just go, The first, I remember we used to do this. There's a writing exercise you used to do where you have to list 10 ideas and pick your best. And the first one was very rarely the best idea. Like you get 4, 5, 6 ideas in before you have somebody goes, just spitball 10 ideas about this image, go. And, you do that and you'd find that the 5th or 6th one was your best idea.
Yeah. That skull on Blue Fella's chest.
Yeah.
But I'm tempted to make it look a bit more alien, but I'm not really sure how.
I mean, we could sort of.
If you change it, it stops being a skull almost.
Yeah, we could make it. I'll make that another layer in case you absolutely hate it, and then I can't do it. You can make it like more. Who's calling me? Hold on, I just got to answer this phone call.
All right, chat. Now's the time for me to fill in the dead air. So start saying things for me to bounce off. But in the interim, I do want, when it comes to aliens, I always want them to look obviously alien, but I'm also kind of against them being blood monsters or sort of things that are kind of like too too, like things like Mogo from Green Lantern. I think that's a bit ridiculous. I understand comics is meant to be fantasy.
I think they also he gets a pass because he's been around for, like, I'm not justifying. I'm saying I think he gets a pass because he's been around for so long.
Yeah,
people have like a fondness for him, but that doesn't necessarily make it a good idea.
No.
It just means it's an idea you've seen long enough that it doesn't really bother you anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel has it too with Ego.
I like the visual of Ego, the fact that it's like this big face on the planet.
Yeah,
I quite like that.
Yeah, whereas Mogo is just like a Earth with a giant ring around it. What's a great obscure character from comic books or books people seldom bring up? I feel like this is a like a test, like a shit test, Xemnu, Xemnu. He was the original Hulk. He was a big hairy fella, and he looks like a hairy Sasquatch.
Big white Hulk with no facial features. He's got eyes and huge eyebrows, but I don't think he's actually got facial features.
Yeah, he's in. What
do you reckon about the alien skull?
Honestly, I don't think the artist is really going to take that much of a. It's not going to really make that much difference to him, I think.
Okay.
Stick it with the alien eyes and see if he kind of gets it, All
right, let's grab the next one while you're having a talk about Zemu.
Yeah, no, I like the way that James Gunn James Gunn's, there's a lot wrong with him, which I won't go into, but you can kind of guess what I'm touching on. But James Gunn's got this formula where he types into Google weirdest Marvel characters or weirdest DC characters, and that's how he got the kind of eclectic mix of villains for Suicide Squad 2.
Yeah,
that's how he got Weasel and Polka Dot Man and the Detachable Kid, and and that's what he does with Guardians of the Galaxy. That's why Taserface was in Guardians 2.
Mm-hmm. It's fake cred because we know that he wasn't reading the comics 20 years ago, 30 years ago. He doesn't know.
Right. But he's made the definitive Guardians of the Galaxy. So
he has to the point where they've been retconned to be those characters.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now this one.
This one.
Yeah,
I said that to my dad, and he says that's the one he's least keen on. But I think we could make it work.
I think so. Let's.
So he's stick insect inspired, but he is not a stick insect.
It's an important distinction to make.
No, the head is literally pineapple shaped. That's
okay.
That's where it has to.
I mean, aren't pineapples just like, I don't know? You ever eat pineapples like ovals? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I've told my pineapple story. Have I ever told my pineapple story? Chat, have I told you my pineapple story before?
I hope it's not the same as the one on South Park, that pineapple story.
I don't think. No, it's not that.
Go for it. All right.
There's nothing wrong with pineapples, my friend. But so a long time ago, in a country far, far away, when I was growing up, back in the early 2000s, mid zeros, mid-aughts or noughties, or whatever you want to call them, there was a trend amongst the youth of England where things, you would say like random words, and that would be considered funny. So it would always be like a word that sounds kind of funny or can be applied in like a funny way. So it would be like goose or cheese, or, stuff like that. And they called it random humor, which wasn't really funny. It was just like silly.
It's
absurd, yeah. And one time I was hanging out with my mate, and this girl had a loaf of bread, and it was like, cut up in slices, and she was with her friends, and she was offering bread to people. And I thought, oh, she's being random. Anyway, I got talking to this girl, and I agreed to, she was kind of cute, so I
Good game. It's got bread game.
I went along with it. Yeah. And the next week, or like a month later or something, I got this girl's phone number, and a few weeks later, I was hanging out with her, and annoyingly, she brought her friends. And her friends were also random.
Such a chick thing to do.
Yeah, her friends were also random, and we're doing silly random stuff. And we were talking about our phobias, and so like 4 of them were saying, normal phobias, or no phobia is normal, but like what would be considered sort of mainstream orthodox phobias. So heights, spiders, snakes. What else is something that everyone's afraid of?
Commitment. I think the clown phobia is a cultural phobia that's grown, artificially grown.
I don't think so. I think clowns kind of look like goblins. Anyway, can I finish? I'll finish the pineapple story.
Finish the story.
So this girl says, "I'm afraid of pineapples," and she's being random. So we're walking through town, and we walk past the fruit stall, and I see a pineapple, and I jokingly say, I can't remember the girl's name, so let's call her Jess. I said, "Jess, look out!" And she turned around, and honest to God, she goes, "Ah!" Falls to her knees, turns pink, tears flooding out of her eyes at like torrential speeds, shaking, quivering, like curled up, keeled over. And all of her friends are like, "What did you do? What are you doing?" She said she was afraid. She said she had a phobia of pineapples. Like, what? Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, 14 years. Everyone is looking at us. And I'm like, what, like not shell shocked, but, like shocked. And she's like, convulsing. And I'm like, what the? So something had happened earlier on in her life that had caused, like, I think she must have had like an allergic reaction to pineapples or something that put her in like, anaphylactic shock or something, or maybe somebody threw a pineapple at her, I've been wondering this for 15 years,
I'll bet. Did you ever look it up to see if it's a real thing? You know how there's like,
mate, I didn't need to look it up. She was bloody convulsing on the floor.
If it's got a name, if it's got, like the aquaphobia, arachnophobia. I can't remember the one
for phobia of pineapples. Let's have a look.
I can't remember what the one for clowns is. It's like
ananaphobia.
There you go.
That makes sense because in French, pineapple is ananas. So I would assume in the other Latin languages it would be anana.
Are these arms too long?
It was a Tesco, Chris. It was a Tesco, which made it even worse because it was like an enclosed area. So the sound of this girl screaming was amplified almost. It didn't rise upwards into the sky. It was oh God. Looking back, that was that was an experience. And that was something that I'd kind of like forgotten about until I was 25, and then I was like, oh shit, that actually happened. The random girl actually became an evangelical Christian, and she went to Bible camp and stuff like that. And I think she got married to an American and moved to the Bible Belt, which is a bit strange considering she, well, maybe handing out bread on the side of the street was an act of charity.
Oh, maybe she was exploring that, without necessarily knowing.
Yeah, she had that kind of bone.
Yeah, a lot of people.
People have their conversions, and I'm no one to judge. Considering I also returned to the faith after several years of not being that religious, but I like the way this fella's looking, especially with the big, what do you call it?
Whoop.
Handlebars. It does kind of look a bit insectoid,
Mm-hmm.
For want of a better word.
Let's get this hair going. I'm looking forward to drawing this hair. It's almost
the hair
like Raccoon's hair, like that pineapple top hair.
I never thought about that. Actually, I did kind of think has to have been a character that's got hair like a pineapple before, and I couldn't think of one except for maybe some SpongeBob thing, but I never watched SpongeBob.
Nor do I missed that. It's generation after me, I think.
Yeah, it's just Ugg82. Handing out bread, a very Christian thing to do. You're right. It is actually the cornerstone of the Christian faith. So, yeah, it was a good point. But that pineapple story, it's almost kind of put me off eating pineapples, because it's what do you call it? I'm now traumatized by the experience of being embarrassed like that, and her boyfriend was like, "She nearly died. What do you do?" I nearly had a fight over it. The guy was pushing me, and
well, if it hadn't, in the context of the absurd humor of the era, I wouldn't have believed it either.
I was completely in the. I did nothing wrong.
That's right. You're blameless in this.
As far as I'm concerned, people say, "Oh, well, you need to go skydiving to cure your fear of heights." How about we deal with, with air and a pineapple phobia first? Right? If I jump out of a plane, there's a chance that my chute might not open.
Yeah.
There's a chance that I might get the bend. You can get the bends or something, can't you, in the air or something? I
believe so.
There's a there's a lot of things there's a chance I could get pulled into the propellers of the plane as I'm jumping out. There's a whole plethora of dangers that could happen. All she has to do is just hold the pineapple for a second, and then you can, worry about people like that first. Don't worry about people with phobias of heights.
That's why I'm not allowed in Tesco's anymore.
I'm allowed in Tesco's even after that time I've dropped a wine bottle in the queue.
How much wine did you had to drink beforehand?
I don't drink wine.
What are you buying wine for?
Like a Christmas present or something. Which is really annoying that's the sort of go-to Christmas present, isn't it? It's like people just assume that everyone else drinks. But you've got to make it plainly clear to almost everybody that you don't drink. If you don't drink. How do we make this fella look a bit more Road Warrior, a bit more Mad Max?
Chuck some spikes on there.
If in doubt.
Yeah.
Maybe some pouches on the straps.
Yeah.
The idea was the straps is that he's so skinny that he needs to have additional straps to tie the backpack onto him. And I don't want to say it now because you've made it look so cool, but those black markings on the side were the back of the backpack. That kind of visible from behind because he's so thin.
I see it.
Give it a hood.
A hood?
Hood. Don't really remember any characters in. The hood kind of takes away from the.
It's Dean being a cheeky bastard. No, Dean. No, it was Dean, wasn't it? I'm not even looking at the chat.
About that.
What? He's messing with me. He's going next level.
Yeah, it worked.
It did. Him and Dean are playing mind games with me.
Don't let them beat you.
Skull codpiece.
That's a winner. Skull codpiece would be one thing. I'm not really sure if I want that. Legs I didn't really do much in. I didn't want him to be an insect. I wanted him to be the long fella.
Yeah. I mean, we could do digigrade legs, but that's more insect, isn't it?
Yeah. Just get them really high boots. Like
Yeah,
really oversized boots.
We'll make this the boot line then.
Yeah. But not like a woman's boots. Not like skin tight. I'm talking just like really big.
Okay. Yep.
Got big shoes to fill. Like New Rocks. You know, like those goth boots. Like one of my have you ever seen that picture? It's that girl. It's like a picture of this girl, and she's holding up a sign saying, "I can't afford ramen" or something like that because of bankers or something like that, you know. And she's at some like Occupy protest or something, and somebody's done a breakdown of all the clothes she's wearing. And she's wearing like $200 New Rock boots. Yeah, which is always the case, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And capitalism sent for my iPhone is the classic one. What do you want going on with the hands? You want 3 fingers, 4 fingers? You want humanoid hands? Long fingers?
What would an insect need 4 arms for? What would a being need 4 arms for?
I mean, insects do it to climb.
Yeah.
I mean, almost every insect can stick to the wall.
I will do that then, yeah. Maybe like gecko kind of fingertips?
Yeah, cool. That's not what I wanted to do.
You know what I'm talking about, gecko, like circular.
Yeah.
Shout out to my friend, the Geico gecko logo fella. The only other Englishman in America I've spoken to in 3 years. And when I say spoken to, I just mean, you know, on the when you call Geico up on the phone.
Yeah.
It's, oh, hello, welcome to Geico. I'm the Geico lizard.
How's that for you, man? How's that been? Like, you're a well-traveled dude, and you know, got a bit of language, and you obviously used to it. Yeah.
Firing a gun will be a pain in the ass. Well, good job I've come prepared, isn't it? Chemo, did you see that Predator picture I sent you?
I did.
There we go.
Is that what you want on this guy?
Yeah, let's put it on this guy.
Oh, yeah, righto.
Makes sense as well. He can be like a gun tower.
Yeah, that's right. Like the old Rio Blast from Masters of the Universe. I don't know if you ever saw like the cyborg cowboy. He has guns. Yeah, he has guns.
I've never seen a second of He-Man in my entire life.
Well, I guess the stream's over then. Thanks for turning up, guys. It was nice to see you all here.
Not that I'm not out of not wanting to.
Disavow.
Just out of being, you know, a millennial in a I don't know, post boomer chat. I don't know, post boomer call. What do you call it? Stream. There we go.
Yeah, we've mentioned before about how like so much of our television in Australia as a kid was all old BBC programming. Nana Man. Is Inspector Gadget BBC?
Nah. Canadian, I think.
Oh, okay. Super Ted, the Goodies. You know, like
Welsh. And they still make Super Ted in the original Welsh. Yeah. Oh. I think they still make it.
That's cool.
Cool. Remade it to galvanize the Welsh, the Welsh language.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah. I believe so, at least. Because in when I was growing up, I grew up quite close to the Welsh border, so you can Welsh television. So it was kind of like a 6 channel, you know. Because back there was 5 channels, and then there was the Welsh channel. And you know, when you're a kid, you don't know it's Welsh, do you? You just know it's not English.
Yes.
I remember I was watching it. I said, "Mom, there's something wrong with the telly." And it wasn't. It was just like, you know, Diolch Valor. Diolch Valor, Super Ted.
That is how they sound. Spotty makes a lot more sense now, knowing that it's originally Welsh.
I really don't remember anything from Super Ted other than that he was a teddy bear in a costume, superhero costume.
Well, Spotty was this sporty alien that came to life and used that turned up to the toy factory and found the rejected Super Ted toy. It was just a bear, and he used magic dust to bring him to life. And then he becomes Super Ted's sidekick. I'm like, imagine the Guardians, the Galaxy, the Owen ones, not the Marvel ones, you know, being, okay, Hal, here's your Green Lantern ring. Now we work for you. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about. I don't know. It can happen. In that Stargirl, that's on HBO. I think it's on HBO. It might be CW actually. I'm not really sure, but the original Stripey, he's he effectively gives her powers, and he functions as a sidekick.
Yeah.
Oh, I've just got to scoot for a minute or so. I'll be back in a sec.
I'll say get out of the chat and see what's going on there. Groping, stealing, and stabbing. He's living the dream, isn't he? That's a smart strategy. It'll keep you going for the long haul. I just think of it as like preservation. You get enough alcohol in you, nothing's going to kill you. I'm not sure about these boots. Do I just cover them in straps and spikes to make them more Road Warrior-esque? I think they need to. I might make them. Well, if he's a climbing creature, I reckon this guy wins just because he's going to have like these satellite guns in a minute coming off his shoulders. So, forearms like a big, strong, tough, resistant dude. I suppose it comes down to, can he withstand the energy blast from these sci-fi guns? I don't think forearms got any other powers, doesn't he? He's just like this forearm dude that's strong and tough. He was one of Strife's blokes back in the X-Force days. Hind legs. You mean give him more legs? Or you mean like, let me get it on the page. This is what I was talking about earlier, was what they call digigrade legs, where like from the side, brush a little bit smaller. There's your butt, there's your junk, there's your thigh and your knee, and once you get to that, this comes back. You get like that sort of reverse joint that dogs, cats, and insects have to different degrees. I've got enough undos. I've got enough undos. If he's a climbing creature, we could expose his toes. Just try and get some exposed toes on somebody here in this space show. But I think if I make the boots more ribbed and everything like these arms are, that might help bring it together visually. Thank everybody again for turning up. I can't believe so many people want to turn up and just watch us draw and listen to us have a chat about mostly irreverent stuff. I've got a few streams coming up to get these cards drawn for the Company Men campaign, so there'll certainly be a lot more drawing and chatting in the near future. I've got about 70 cards done. I've sold 200 physical copies of the book, so I've only got about 130 cards to go. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. No problem. I'm sure I'll get it done in time. I'm going to be able to do nothing but these art cards for the next 2 weeks. So I've got a definite guaranteed delivery date for the coloured pages from the artist. So I've got a timetable I can work on. He said guaranteed by this time you will have all the coloured pages. I'm like, right, I'm going to take your word. And so now we're organising a printer. And by we, I mean me, because I've paid everybody else to do the other jobs, so now it's just me. Organising a printer. It does look like, because of the way things are going with shipping and stuff, if Australia doesn't open up for shipping, if America's not able to ship to Australia, it does look like my countrymen might get their books later than they expected. But, I mean, blame George Soros for that. Don't blame me. I'd be happy for us all to keep shipping things around, but they don't want it to happen, so. Almost want to give him like Buckeye goggles or something, but I know that Nardbuck doesn't want to have like, he's insect man, but he's not too insect. Or more eyes. Like, I want to give him like more eyes. Yeah. So, all right, so let's have a look at these Predator guns. So it's like these big guns that come off the backpack. Because he's got these in the way, I don't know, I suppose I'll make another layer so they don't get in the way. I'd want him to be putting them out here on some sort of like a swivel arm type thing, and then they can swivel and aim as needed. So this one would be upright. There's like the smoke coming out of it had been shot, and there's the other one, and they sort of swivel up and down. So while down, this one would be more like that, taking aim at something, like laser scope type things. I don't know, I think it's pretty busy. I might do both sides. Oh, don't have enough undos. I don't know why, I suppose it's a limitation of the memory. I don't know why Photoshop does. There's so many programs that have got unlimited undos, and Photoshop's like, you get 12. Screw you get 12. Switch back to black. Oh, that's not what I want. Oh, come on. You don't use Photoshop for a couple of weeks and you forget all your shortcuts. I got to admit, drawing tech type stuff, there's some people who are really good at it. It's not one of my fortes. There's some people, like, the guy that does like Appleseed and Ghost in the Shell and stuff. Like, these guys just got a head for understanding how things sit. And
I'm back.
didn't even
stuck in. I felt like I was stuck in jail. I thought I was in a bloody, what's it called? Parallel. What's it called? The Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
Screaming at a square. Yeah, no, my dog's going mad. I don't know what's going on with her. I put all the food in a bowl, and she's still not eating it. And now she's just like bothering me. And when she's bothering me, she scratches me. So it's really annoying. Is this character going to be in a book? Yes, but he's going to be. He's in.
You want to talk about it for a bit?
Yep. So my comic is going to be called. It's about a character called Aquila. He is a space cop. He is tasked. He is the lone space cop that polices our solar system. And the reason why we haven't met aliens, and the reason why we aren't in some big Star Trek civilization, some big Federation or anything like that, the reason why we haven't had official first contact with aliens is because this part of the galaxy, our solar system, is viewed as a desolate wasteland, and it's used by smugglers and criminals and scumbags to scumbag aliens to underground black market trading, smuggling, committing crimes that go unnoticed, that kind of seedy underbelly of the galaxy. So it's kind of like kind of forgotten about, kind of just left to its own devices, and Aquila is the only space cop left protecting it. And in the first issue, he comes across a smuggler who has a gang of Mad Max style aliens, and he faces off with the gang, and that's what Kimo is drawing right now, based on my terrible sketches. It's these gang members. So he might not have a speaking role, but he definitely is going to be a character. He's going to have a name, and he's going to be possibly show up in future comics as well after this one.
What do you think about the studs?
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That was it was Replicant that suggested that. Thanks for the suggestion, bro.
That's fantastic. Yeah, great. Really love it.
What I like about that setup, like so often it's like, oh, mankind hasn't met aliens because we're just too dangerous and they're scared of us. And if we have space travel, and your version's like, nah, we haven't met aliens because they think we're a pack of cunts and we're useless. And
yeah, whenever we meet aliens, whenever you hear stories about aliens coming to Earth and stuff like that, what are they always doing? They're always stealing water from water spouts, or they're mutilating cattle, or they're like joyriding over military bases, almost as if they're taunting us. So
like the neutrinos from the
idea,
Ninja Turtles. They're just like these arsehole aliens that are just out to bomb you.
So aliens that come to Earth. So Aquila is chosen to be the space cop because such aliens do fly over his part of town, and they crash land their ship. No, they don't crash land the ship. What am I talking about? That was the original plan, but I decided that he comes across these aliens that are like abducting a cow or something, and and he tries to stop them, and he faces down with them as a regular kind of Earth American cop. No, it's today. It's modern day. We just don't know. And Aquila is he's a regular cop in Nebraska. Not really much going on. Not really much crime. Not really much, in the way of, terrible crimes going on. And these aliens fly over and start dicking about with with a farmer's cattle. And he faces off with these aliens that have got advanced technology, ray guns, laser guns, UFOs and stuff, flying saucers. And he says, "Stop stealing that man's cow." And they start laughing at him and they try and shoot him. And he stands up to them. And the police officer, who is constable of the area that he ends up patrolling, comes and arrests these aliens. And he sees that, this Earthling, who is completely unmatched, completely overpowered, still has the balls to stand up to them, even when he's, even when he's on the back foot. And he sees, well, that's a really good sign he would be an excellent member of the Phoenix Guard. And I see a lot of potential in this guy. And so that's how he ends up becoming the cop. These aliens speak English. Look, mate. They got a universal translator like Star Trek.
And that's a real thing. I've seen that in the story several times. It's used. There's times where he has to deliberately. He's like aware of the fact that the translation's going on. That's something you've written into the story. It's not It's not just something you've said in response to that.
Yeah, there have been times when there's one alien race that they I think they're Mercurians. I can't really remember. They their language is 50% telekinetic, so they don't really need to embellish what they have to say because it's assumed by other members of their race. Like they're kind of picking up things like syntax and like what's the word, semantics. Their understanding of semantics of the sentence through telepathy rather than through verbal communication. I'm interested in languages and stuff like that, and body language and how that affects communication. And like in Japan, it's rude to point with one finger.
Is that why they do the whole hand point thing? Is that why they do like the whole hand chop at someone?
I don't know about that, but in Disney World, so as to not offend Japanese tourists, the Disney World employees point with two fingers. They point with their forefinger and their flip the bird finger. Can't remember what it's called. Yeah, the Bret Hart sunglasses was an inspired choice, I have to add.
It's always a winner. You can't get wrong.
I just couldn't think of it. I really liked the idea, but none of these aliens have got sunglasses.
Let's grab this gun, chuck it on the other side as well.
Yeah,
I do like the symmetry of it being on just the one side, but
yeah,
I like asymmetry, so that's my problem. I'll deal with it. That's an empty dick.
So he's going to be the tallest of the bunch, I think. But it works because he won't overshadow Ursats.
Yeah.
Because he's skinny.
He's so lean, that's right.
Yeah, that was kind of my intention. I wanted him to be skinny.
Do you reckon this one's
That's just about done, mate. Maybe on the on the chest. I think something needs to go there. Maybe.
Okay.
What do you reckon?
Oh yeah, it's a bit plain. It's a bit plain. I might just do some ribbing, some lines, just to show that. Oh bloody hell! What's up with my hand at the moment? It's like some sort of seams.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's have a look what it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, you only need a little something just to break it up.
Yeah,
so that you're just not as aware that
even
it's
just like a zip, like
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just a line down the middle. Let me just grab some highlight there. Even that just breaks it up, almost makes it look like pecs on either side there. You could do like a
there we go. Yeah, that's much better.
It just breaks it up, and then because you're using the dark and the light there, you can see the recesses and highlights, and it's cheating. You look at it and go, oh, yeah, that works. And you just move on. You don't think about it again.
Are we keeping those? The backpack, or are we?
I'd like it if the guns were his boosters, and then he turns around and uses them to shoot as well. The way that Iron Man uses his report.
Yeah. All right, so maybe get rid of the other backpack. Yeah. There we go, and then it. Let's go. These guys are all coming out really, really good.
Yeah, cool. And that's the goal. Is
we should number them and then let people in chat vote on which one they think's coolest.
Mm.
Go on. Sorry, my dog's going nuts, jumping around on the couch. I think she's having the zoomies. For some reason, she always gets the zoomies whenever I'm in these calls. I don't know why.
Well, I said, look at me, Dad. Look at me.
Yeah. She says, I want to be famous too. I want to be a famous commentator. Come on.
There we go. All right, let's just.
Yeah, it's difficult for a dog, I'd imagine. You're at work all day, and then I'm at work all day. She's by herself, and then the only time she gets to play outside is when I take her for a walk for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like. So I'll have to take her on another walk after this. I think she's got too much energy. She needs to, burn it all out. Look at that. That's so much better than what. That's the one my dad said he doesn't have as much hope for.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you just got to see it, the different perspectives. Let's look at all the. It's our third one today. So we got this fella here.
I think that'll be it for the entire gang. Actually, if we do one more, the one with the last one.
There is one more to do. So
I put him as pink. I think I might change his color because pink's a bit. If he's pink, he looks a bit too much like the one from. I hope he's lost his skull there. What's the one? What's the name of the? Somebody help me. The name of Frieza's henchman. That is.
Dorita?
Huh?
Dorita?
He's called something like that, isn't he? Yeah. Not Zarbon.
Not Zarbon.
The other one. The pink.
Everyone likes Zarbon. When I play the Dragon Ball games, I often use Frieza's henchmen as like dudes in my group because they're just some of the coolest designs in the whole show.
Oh yeah.
The
characters I would like to see, get more.
Did Zarbon? I don't remember. Did Zarbon die? He probably did. What if instead of dying, what is happening here? Hold on. Got to think about this because I keep screwing it up.
Instead of dying, he forms a faction of a sort of breakaway faction of surviving Frieza soldiers, and he becomes a kind of petty warlord. And him and Dodoria. That's it, Dodoria.
The one
become rival kind of warlords in space.
Like how when you stop thinking about it, all of a sudden the answer comes to you.
Yeah, dogs calm down now, I think.
I'll get this bad boy over here.
We'll get the other ones from the other pictures, and kind of put them all together, see what they look like. He needs to be taller, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's something we can also do is scale them.
Yeah.
I
think Fish Fella needs to be a bit shorter. Yeah. More like that. And Blue Fella needs to be a bit Blue fella's fine, actually. I think pineapple fella needs to be taller. Yeah.
All right, I'll have to make the canvas a bit bigger.
Sorry, mate.
No, sorry. I'm just trying to remember how to do it. Height. Now, I've never really understood how this works. You put in 110%, and I think it. Maybe you just put in 100%, and it gives you 10% more. I think, or it gives you 110% more. Okay, so if I just put in 10%, it should just give me, because I only need like another 10-20%. Canvas size, height, percentage. So I go 10%. Maybe do it again. Should be enough. Then we grab this background color here, and then we get stretch and make him.
That's better. Yeah.
And we'll just try and get them all on the same level.
I feel like calling him Stretch, but spelling it in like a really kind of alien way, like STREET, and then CZ, like check.
Yep.
Like that, maybe like Stretch.
All right, cool.
There we go. Yeah, that's much better.
All right, well, let's get this last guy happening, and then I'll expand the canvas out. I think this has been more productive than the other ones because we've got those initial designs to go off. I think that's a really great way to work.
Yeah. Well, that's it's where the inspiration kind of comes from. So this fella, the head, it looks a bit like a cock and balls. That wasn't my intention. I was trying to make him look a bit like a pufferfish.
Yeah.
But with the alien xenomorph kind of elongated head that Frieza has in this third form.
Yeah. That's
I was thinking we need to hit all these alien tropes. The fact they colored it pink kind of was what made me realize that it looks like a cock and balls. I was like, oh shit.
It's all about the color, isn't it?
Looks like a cock and balls. I didn't better put spikes on it. No, I'm joking. I intended it to have spikes on the entire time. So this guy's got like armored skirt on, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like Vegeta. Keep talking about Dragon Ball. I'm gonna get sued. Like the aliens from a certain popular manga. Ball. It's a ball's chinian. Is that from Spaceballs?
Was it from Rick and Morty?
I wouldn't know because I don't watch Rick and Morty.
How pig-like is that nose?
I'm going against the pig thing actually. To be honest. It is unironically. It's a bit on the nose.
Yeah, just because he's pink as well, I think. What if we just give him like I don't dislike the ridges.
No, I like the ridges. Yeah.
What if we just make it more like? Sort of thing. Let's get some
less of a snout, more of a kind of just a stubby nose.
Like from the side, I imagine probably look a bit. I'm thinking of Karg from the He-Man movie. Like a profile would look kind of like that, I think.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know it works. Yeah.
All right. And, I'm thinking actually with the spikes, what about like sea urchin-y uneven spikes?
I was going for like a pufferfish kind of look.
Pufferfish.
But what do you mean by sea urchin? Like
just like let me just chuck another layer down.
We're talking like a mermaid that lives on the streets.
No, I don't know what you guys call them. What's a sea urchin? Like the. It's going to be hard for the artist to draw.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking like little kind of pufferfish spikes like I've drawn.
All right, let's get in on that.
This guy's got a kind of like Samoa Joe physique. If you know Samoa Joe.
I do.
Keith Lee. now known as Bearcat Keith Lee, which is a bit weird. Keith Bearcat Lee.
I'm not a big fan of the trend of wrestlers being just Keith Lee or Randy Orton or John Cena or Cody Rhodes.
Blame WCW for that, I think.
Like you had Adrian Neville, which is just not like
a terrible name.
It's not even a name; it's a terrible real name, let alone a wrestling name. And then he went into the big leagues and he was just called Neville, and I haven't heard from him in.
No, he's in AEW now. He's called Pac, P-A-C, Pac. Which isn't much better.
It isn't. I miss the days of wrestlers being like real personalities, real characters. I think it's just,
like Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah,
Ultimate Warrior.
When people talk to them, they refer to him as Macho as opposed to Randy. Like that was so much thing. Like Hulk Hogan. Hulk was I think he got his name legally changed to Hulk, didn't he? From Terry.
I don't think so. No. Steve Austin did, I think.
Legend. I would. What a kick-ass name. What a kick-ass character. Still my GOAT. Still my greatest of all time.
Yeah. In terms of like in-ring ability, he wasn't fantastic, but everything else was just like was great. But the thing is because he was so over, because he was so popular, because of the character, because of the gimmick, because of the storyline, him not being the best technical wrestler in the world didn't really matter. People. It
almost supported the gimmick, didn't it?
Yeah, and that's part of the problem, I think, with a lot of wrestling today is people, the fans, and I'm not when I say fans, I don't mean like the casual audience, but the vocal fans, the Twitter fans, the IWC, which I hate that term, but that's what they call themselves.
What is it?
IWC, Internet Wrestling Community.
Yeah.
And anybody that uses that kind of phrase is, that kind of rings alarm bells for me. But they seem to prioritize in-ring ability.
Mm-hmm.
So they love. That's why they like AEW and stuff like that, because it's all about how many spots you can do, how many moves you can do in a certain amount of time, in a certain amount of time limit, and it takes away doing that where you'll get like there's one of the kind of patriarchs of AEW is one of the patriarchs of AEW is a tag team called two of the patriarchs are a tag team called the Young Bucks, and they fancy themselves like the Hardy Bros, but in that they're a tag team who are brothers. And they do high spots and stuff like that, like Jeff Hardy does. But you'll watch one of their matches, and it's the same shit over and over again. What they'll do is they'll they do so many moves, they do so many flips, and it's almost like superfluous amounts of like flips and gymnastics.
Yes, yeah. It doesn't make the move any better. It doesn't make it more impactful. No, it wouldn't hurt more for the extra
What they'll
rotation.
also do is that they'll do these like garbage kind of like not death matches, but like weapons matches and TLC kind of matches, tables, ladders, chairs, and like they'll go up like really high ladders, and then they'll get knocked off the fucking ladder. They'll do like a triple 360 splash, and then go through two tables stacked on top of each other, and then he'll just get up as if nothing's happened.
Yeah.
And then like somebody will elbow them in the face, and they'll fall.
And they're not even selling it right.
Yeah, and it's like shit like that. They're like that kind of. Sorry, I've gone off on a tangent about how much I hate that wrestling company, but
it's all right.
But
I don't think I think it's all tangents. I think this stream's just all tangents, isn't it?
But like coming back to what I was saying, like they don't really care about storytelling anymore, and like there are people who can kind of synthesize both. There are people who can be great technical kind of wrestlers, great work rate wrestlers, and also be great at telling stories, and also be great at getting over. Daniel Bryan is the perfect example of that.
That's a funny way to spell Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle too, yeah. Daniel Bryan
he's so good, man. Kurt Angle,
Kurt Angle kind of was Kurt Angle's a different sort of situation because he had the Olympic background. He had the gold medal. He was a celebrity before he joined WWE in a way.
Yeah.
Whereas Daniel Bryan he got fired from WWE twice before he became famous. Before he became world champion and stuff like that.
How you liking this physique on this guy? Is this
it's much better than what I drew. Really looks like he's wearing an apron.
Does a bit. I wonder
actually kind of works if he's like.
What if we have a high point? Oh, unless you want the apron look. What if we have a high point on it?
No, the high point works. The high point's a lot better than what. This is why you have an artist. This is why you don't send this over and say, "This is my final. This is my final piece." I do want the head to be a bit longer, though, mate.
Yep.
A bit bigger and a bit longer, yeah.
Okay. Let's. So is the face okay, and you just want the top of the head bigger?
Yeah, the face is okay. They just want the top of the head. Be more xenomorph. Yeah.
Yeah. A small head.
Less cone heads, more xenomorph.
Sure. Yeah. I get you.
Coneheads, hilarious movie. Don't know if you've seen it.
Never seen it. Did you ever watch? Have you ever seen the? Oh shit! I confused the two movies. So there's The Burbs with Tom Hanks, where the people next door, they think they're serial killers. It's a comedy. And he thinks the serial killers, nobody else does, and he looks like he's crazy for trying to prove it. And he's like losing his relationship, and I don't know what's going on here. That's a fun movie of a similar era. But there's another one where, and I don't know what it's called. Maybe people in the chat have heard of it. It's this family that moves to the neighborhood, and they're just like a regular, everyday family. But they're actually these giant bug people from the Amazon. These giant praying mantis type creatures. It's a comedy. It's like Coneheads. It's like Ghostbusters. It's like the Burbs. It's like big. It's from that era, and they're trying to be regular people and fit in. I can't remember what their mission is, and they get sort of corrupted by modern society. The girl ends up getting teen pregnant. I think one of them gets addicted to sugar because they don't have it over there.
You're talking about Third Rock from the Sun.
No. These are actual. They're actual insect. Like they're turned into giant praying mantises halfway through the movie. The girl actually she gets teen pregnant, but it's actually forced upon her. It's a pretty graphic scene for a teen comedy. She gets RAPD on the trampoline in the gym at school. So does anybody know the movie I'm talking about? It's in the same vein as these other ones we're talking about. It's from that same era, and I remember I've seen it a half a dozen times, and nobody's ever been able to tell me the name of it. I don't. Everybody's heard of Coneheads, and a lot of people know The Burbs. It's one of those like sort of almost cult movies before Tom Hanks got too weird. Anybody in the chat?
I really don't know what you're talking about. Sounds funny though. Sounds like something I might enjoy, but I really have no idea what it is.
And then at the end, their secret of being these bug creatures comes out. And instead of people freaking out about it, they become celebrities, and they're like meeting the president on the cover of Time magazine and stuff.
Right.
And I think their mission was something to do with like, I don't know, convincing people not to farm the Amazon rainforest or something. And then because the world finds out there's sentient bug races living in there, it actually completes their mission in a way they didn't realize that they could.
Right. Okay.
I don't know. If anybody's seen that, I think I'm probably the oldest person in the chat. So if I can't remember it, probably nobody else has seen it.
I have no idea. Ow! Sorry, dogs. I thought the dog had calmed down. She's not. She's back to where she was. Gonna have to walk her again, I think, after we've done her on this. But that won't be long. That won't be for that. We're nearly done, I think, with this fella.
Yeah, it doesn't.
He needs a bit more spacey kind of look.
So we'll start chucking some bits and bobs on him to help get that high tech look. I've noticed a lot of people. There's these drawing challenges. I think Dan Frager does them, and he has people on. They have like an hour or 30 minutes to draw a picture, and it's like everybody works different. My stuff's really raw and unrefined. I know that, but it'll get to the end of the 30 minutes or the hour, and people have got like a vague sketch of a head and arm and a leg, and I'm like, you had 30 minutes. What are you doing?
Yeah,
like you had 30 minutes. Like you should
people work at different rates, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding out. I go and hang out on these other draw streams by talented dudes who are pros, ex-pros, that sort of thing, and you'll be 45 minutes in, and they've just sort of vaguely sketched out the figure, most of the figure, and I'm thinking, well, that's why I try to talk and draw at the same time when I'm doing my the cards that I'm drawing.
Yeah.
Because if I'm just talking, I may as well just jump on a stream with Demon. We do our regular show. If I'm drawing and not talking, why is anybody going to show up? Because my drawings aren't that good. It's the combination of non-stop talk.
You don't want dead air, do you?
No, I'm not a fan of dead air. Because I got one time accused of it, and it wasn't my fault. And I'm like, well, that wasn't my fault, but I'm never going to let that happen on any of my appearances if I can help it. I was on with Oz, Liam's friend Oz, and it was just, and there wasn't a purpose for the show. It's just like this general streaming, and it's just all these dudes just hanging out talking. They knew each other, and I didn't know any of them. He said, who's going to help me co-host the show? I'm like, yeah, I've got a minute. I'll jump on. And it was just like nothing. I'm like, what's the topic? What are we talking about? And he's like, no, we're just hanging out. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know these people. I thought it was a bit unusual. Whereas, yesterday I'm on with Rich and with Dirk and Murph, and we had a clear topic, and we talked for 2.5 hours.
Very
easy to talk
extensively. I'll be honest, I dipped out in the middle.
Right, that's fine. A lot of people do. Like Phil was here a little while ago saying g'day. Phil's a busy dude. He's making comics. He's making great comics. Yeah. I don't think he's got time to sit here and listen to us do this for hours and hours on end. But I appreciate people stopping by just to say g'day.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had to walk the dog. I had to make my dinner.
I'll be making lunch in a minute.
Yeah, I'm gonna be having my dinner soon. I haven't eaten yet. All
right, let's see if we can get this. So how big of a head do you want? Like here sort of thing? Looks like Guile from Street Fighter. No, Paul Phoenix from Tekken. How pointy is the cone?
If you can see a picture of Frieza's third form.
Yeah, it's very much like an alien, isn't it? With that back, like from the side. Very much like that. Like
it's hard to do. I would imagine it's hard to do from the front.
It is. Yeah. And if anything, I should probably turn this guy's face to the side somewhat.
Yeah, turn it to the side.
So that the artist, he knows what to do.
Yeah. He's got a cone head.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. All right. We're going to shy away from tricky, though. If we did, we wouldn't be making comic books, that's for sure.
Yeah, the armband with the tassets. Again, like Dragon Ball is a huge influence on me, and I'm not. You can't. You can't not have a group of warriors and them not kind of vaguely remember Saiyans, replicant. I mean, you probably can. You can probably think of 1,000 examples, like the Klingons. Are a good example, I guess. Yeah. But I do want that kind of look. The idea is I want them to look like Frieza's kind of henchmen have gone into, serving like piracy kind of thing.
Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar. Like everybody just says, I've never heard of the movie. I don't know what it is. These giant, like 9-foot tall praying mantises. It's all using old school stop motion practical effects and everything. I think it's got one of the dudes out of Beetlejuice in it, but I'm not 100% sure. It seems to me thematically, it's the same era as My Stepmom's an Alien with Kim Basinger. Like that whole.
Eat the Applegates.
Is that what it's called?
I've just done a Google search. Satirizing the American way of life, a family of giant Brazilian rainforest insects disguise themselves as humans and move to a suburban town in Iowa in order to destroy a nuclear power plant.
Aha, there you go.
From 1991, directed by David Lane. You've been sitting there racking your head for 20 years wondering what this movie is called.
Yep.
And I just did a Google search and got it in one.
Yep. While you're there, see if you can find this game that I've been trying to remember.
See where I can find where I left my Nintendo SNES when I was a wee.
There's this game. It's a like Resident Evil where the camera changes, the old Resident Evils, and you're like a 1920s mystery man with goggles and a pork pie hat and a cape and twin guns, and I think he's fighting supernatural threats. And it's very noir. It's very dark. There's a scene in the cinema where it's all creepy because the cinema's empty, and then the reel-to-reel starts playing, and like spooky images flash up on the screen as you go over to look at it. Like a werewolf jumps out of through the screen and attacks you and stuff. So he almost looks like the Grey Ghost off the Batman animated show. And that's a game I remember a friend of mine was playing. I was watching it thinking, this is just, I didn't have a computer back then. I was the poor kid, and this is just so cool. But I could never. I've asked online and stuff, and people are like, nah. I've been talking about that bug, Meet the Applegates. I've been talking about that bug movie for a decade. No one's ever said. I never thought to look at it online. I guess that's
Max Payne.
Was that?
Is it Max Payne?
No.
I've just taken all the nouns from the sentence that you just said describing it and put it in a Google search. Video game, noir, cinema, supernatural, camera changes. I'm not really a video game person. I wouldn't really know what to search.
Yeah. Is this more like what you're thinking for the shape of the head?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
I mean, from behind, I imagine that it's almost like it's ridged. You know, down to his, like that's the skull. That's where the neck connects, and his face is around the other side here.
Yeah. Again, though, I think it needs maybe a little bit more diagonal in its kind of positioning. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well,
sorry if there's an echo. My earplugs pulled out, and then I'm gonna have to leave the stream and rejoin. Can I do that?
Yeah, I'll just keep
pay attention this time instead of sitting there.
Yeah, I've gone for more like almost like a reptilian frog face instead of the pig face. I think it kind of suits. I'm still getting like an ocean sea anemone type. Yes, you are. So let's make this a little bit more. So you want more curved. You want it to curve over more.
Yeah.
All right, so
be a bit longer. I really just want like the xenomorph kind of look.
I feel like I need to make his head bigger then, so it doesn't end up getting too thin and too odd.
That was easy enough.
Yeah.
I should add, I can draw better. I was just scribbling on a notepad in work.
Oh yeah, like my scribbly sketches look atrocious, but they do the job. And
not a trained artist, so.
Yeah, like if I'm just drawing a costume design, I'll just basically make a paper doll. Oh, come on.
Again, I think it needs to come out the back of the skull, like not the cranium, but like where the neck is.
Okay.
Like is scapula the word?
Not
is that
sure,
the right? I don't know. No, scapula's in your leg or something, isn't it?
I think saying that though, that helps me visualize.
Yeah, there we go. Like that. Yep. Yeah, again, Dragon Ball is a huge influence on me, so I guess that's kind of what I was going for. When we see the other guys that are, we'll get at the end of the stream. I think Kimo, if possible, you can pull up the other guys that we did in the previous stream, and then we'll share the whole gang all together. And then I'm gonna have to name them all one by one somehow. That's when you give them alien names, but I don't want them to be called like Blip Blop, you know. But I also don't want them to be called like, you know, Taserface.
Yes, it's a metaphor.
Those spikes, I think, are a bit too evenly spaced. I think they need to be like more random and kind of clustered together, or you know, in some spaces. You know what I'm getting at? More kind of haphazard.
I'll chuck another layer down so that it's protected. Oh, you found your little sister. Hello. That's a funny dance first thing in the morning. You guys want some breakfast in a minute? Yeah. All right, go sit in. I'll make you some food soon. All right, we can do that. All right, so let's so same size spikes but clustered together, or
no, I mean like no. Sorry, just like randomly spaced all around the same size, but all like randomly spaced all around the creature. Rather than like, because the way you were doing it, they were all kind of perpendicular. Is that the right word?
I think so. Yeah, they're all like parallel to each other,
like a cactus. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right, so backpack. Oops.
Yeah, I've heard that he has like quite a big backpack because he's kind of burly. It says on the notes, I think actually I wrote it somewhere.
Ah, that's his lung that holds all the air. That's
cool. That's the big long head is there's a lung in there, so that's why he doesn't have a space helmet or anything. He holds his breath, but the lung is in his head, which to me seems like the most efficient place to put a lung.
Yeah, well, it's right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just going to shrink him down a bit.
It's probably not the most efficient place to put your lung is obviously in your heart, like not in your chest, you know. But whatever, he's an alien. Gonna have quite big boots as well because he's a big boy and he needs like extra boost to kind of, because his boots have got like a grav kind of anti-grav in them. So he needs a bit of an extra boost on his repulsors or whatever you want to call them that are in the base of his boot. He's quite dynamically posed compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, I think there's something about I remember reading How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way as a kid and seeing Jean Buscema draw the Thing only 4 heads tall, or maybe maybe he was 5 heads tall and the Kingpin was 4 heads tall, and it just changed the way that I saw, because everybody I drew was like 7.5, 8 heads, 9 heads tall, looking quite heroic.
Yeah,
but, I mean, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5 maybe. So that's like the thing, and those big burly guys, to make them not look fat and stocky and static, I find that I want to pose them quite dynamically. There's the Kingpin is always like lunging forward with one big meaty hand out trying to punch Spider-Man or Daredevil in the face. Kingpin gets around, he gets into trouble, man. He's getting in trouble with Punisher, he gets into trouble with Daredevil and Spider-Man.
Well, he is the king of crime.
He is the Kingpin
in New York City, so I'd imagine that he crosses paths with quite a lot of. I've got an idea for I was talking. I think in the first stream that we did, I was reading. I think it was like the Marvel wiki, and I read about the White Tiger, the original White Tiger, and they all had 3 pieces of an amulet, and the pieces of the amulet gave them powers. I remember I wrote so I could do something with this. I could really expand this character with this by expanding on this, and I put his gloves as being kind of like boxing gloves.
Oh, he did too. I remember that now that you say it.
Yeah. Right. The idea being that he probably has not trotters, but not very posable hands, so that's why his arm is kind of crude and not really. Yeah, but like I had this idea. So you know what? Like, I might as well take all these ideas and do something myself with them, because I'm never chances of me ever working for Marvel are incredibly slim.
Yeah.
It's a shame though. It's like you have all these great ideas and for other people's characters, and you could really there's Spider-Man had there was a team that kind of splintered off from Spider-Man. There was a storyline where Spider-Man was accused of killing somebody, and he established these like 4 different disguises. Do you remember the story? Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, there's like the Hornet dude, Ricochet.
Yeah, there's Hornet, Ricochet, Dusk.
Dusk, that was one I was saying to do with the time of day. Yep, and there's a fourth one. Yeah, he had the 4 different identities. Stinger, maybe.
Stinger, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Do people still want to work for Marvel? Says it's just 82. All right, let's look at it like this. I don't want to work for Marvel, but I want to write Spider-Man. Does that kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just getting the kids set up. Yeah, I exactly the same. I don't want to work for Marvel, but I've got a fantastic 6-issue Stingray story that kicks ass that I'm just going to turn into my own marine biologist character, and I've got this great treatment for a Prowler story where Spider-Man goes missing and nobody else cares. The Avengers, the Fantastic Four, they're like, yes, look, at Spider-Man, he'll be fine. He can take care of himself. We don't really know anything about who he is. He just comes and goes. So, like, he might just be having a break. He might have got married. He might be having a kid. He might have retired. Like, it's not a problem. It's like he's not in immediate danger. We've got shit to do. And Hobie Brown's like, well, forget that. I know Peter. I know him. I'm going to sort this out. So he goes, because Spider-Man's been missing for 6 weeks or whatever. So he goes and he tracks down why Spider-Man's missing and who's responsible. And it's the sort of thing that only a detective can do it, only somebody with investigative abilities. And none of the other Avengers, Fantastic Four, nobody really fits or suits or, it's like, say, Captain America, you got to work out why Spider-Man is missing. He goes, so you want me to throw my shield at something? No, we're trying to work out Spider-Man's gone missing. He's disappeared. We're worried. Families, Mrs. is worried. It's like, I can give you guys a really rallying speech, rally the troops, talk about patriotic America. No, Cap, we need deductive ability. Sorry, I can't help you. Reed Richards, I can build a machine that I can find Spider-Man. Can you though? So it's sort of like the thing that Hobie Brown's the least experienced, least equipped. He's using, but like he makes gadgets out of his leftover toaster, his broken toaster. Like he's just operating at his dodgy apartment. He's never really made it. He's always like an 8th tier superhero, barely even a superhero. But then he's the one who finds who Spider-Man is. He finds where he is, saves him, saves the day, because he's got that human ingenuity, that desire to want to know, and he can operate at that street level where maybe the Avengers can't. And it sort of gives him a role in because there's a whole street level Marvel universe that's so great, that sort of touched on with Netflix.
Yeah,
that doesn't get probably used as much as it should.
Yeah,
and
I think I was thinking with Slingers. Sorry,
the Slingers. That's what it was. Yeah,
Slingers. And the 4th member was a guy called Prodigy, who has that Prodigy costume looks so good.
Was that the one with the white mask?
It's like it's got like it's got wings on the side, and it's got the one with the white mask is the Ricochet, I think.
Okay.
Prodigy's got yellow. It's like a golden kind of amber with silver details, and he's got a cape like a Thor style cape.
Oh yeah, I think I know the one you're talking about. Yep.
And he's got wings on his mask. It looks so cool, and they were all killed off or something new, and they were all they never show up.
Yeah.
And again, give me that. Give me something like that.
Yeah,
I could really do something with that. Because you could do that with, you could kind of, you could almost make, because people are basically doing that. Did it when you do all these like Spider-Man team ups? When you do Spider-Gwen meets Miles Morales meets, Peter Parker obviously, and they do. Who else did he include in that? What's the name of the 2099 one? Slipped my mind.
Robbie. Miguel.
No, Miguel O'Hara.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they do that, and it's like, why not have a team that is that, but they're all these different characters?
Yeah.
Like it's the same kind of fundamental concept, but it's the costumes are all cool. Make them people. Because what they also did was that they made them all completely new characters. You could there's Spider-Man has got such a wealth of background characters that you could pick from, like kind of semi-established characters, people that he went to school with and stuff like that.
Yep.
Or like other characters that went to school with,
and even villains that they're like, look at Puma.
Reformed villains, yeah.
Like Puma's not always a bad guy. He fights for his people.
Yeah.
He does it in a bad Craven. Craven, for the right reason, Craven would hunt. Just say some creatures, some beings loose or whatever, and you get like, why wasn't Craven helping hunt down Carnage and Maximum Carnage? He's a hunter. He hunts. He finds. He tracks these people. If they got him involved, he's the best tracker in the Marvel universe, sort of thing.
Well, then he would turn around on Spider-Man and try and kill him.
Oh yeah. And then Spider-Man has to say to him, "What's more important to you, beating me or proving that you're the world's greatest tracker? Because if you stay here and fight me, he's going to get away, and everyone's going to know Craven can't cut the mustard. Craven couldn't get past it. And
then he would say, "Well, but Craven can get an even bigger prize by killing Spider-Man."
Yeah, it depends on how you want to write it, where you want to go with it.
His rogues gallery is unequaled. Says Crazy Mad talking about Spider-Man, I would assume. Batman's the only other person that's really got a candle to.
You don't reckon
Spidey,
the Flash?
isn't he?
You don't reckon the Flash's rogues gallery, literally rogues gallery, the rogues? You don't reckon they measure up? They're not in the same.
They're not in the same. They're not in the same strata, are they? Like in terms of like cultural consciousness.
Yeah.
Like you can name Killer Frost, Zoom,
Weather Wizard, Captain Cold, the Top.
Yeah,
but I'm a big fan of those, so I would be able to do that. I was going for with this guy's backpack. I was going for more like exhaust pipes off. Like
whatever.
Cadillac
Like
sort of thing.
it makes him different, like a
that's what I was thinking.
Like because they're not like a uniform; they're all kind of like ramshackle.
Yeah, and he needs like double boosters, like you said, to get up.
That's a good name for it. That would be a good name for like an Iron Man villain. Ramshackle.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy's put together his own
armor of bits and pieces of other characters' armor, so we could have like bits of Iron Man's armor, a bit of Rhino's, like power armor from Amazing Spider-Man 2.
No, I think that's
there's another armored character.
Well, what about Old Mate in our writing collective? He had a story that was similar to that. I won't go too much into it, but I thought that was a.
Oh yeah.
That had potential.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's similar sort of.
They were different pieces of the. Yeah. I know. Yeah. Grodd, a bit of Grodd's armor. Grodd's another Flash character.
Yeah, Pied Piper.
Isn't like Orca and King Shark, aren't they?
Debatable. DC's.
Aren't they Flash villains?
I'm not sure. There's a whole bunch of new ones were created years ago when, when EVS and I'm not sure who wrote Iron Heights. Was it Mark Waid? Because Waid was writing the Flash at the time.
Yeah, I think wasn't it Jeff Johnson?
I might have been. Waid did a great job on Flash. Like, regardless of Waid's other choices,
Ethan never wanted to leave Green Lantern. I think.
Mm-hmm.
No, sorry, it's the other way around. Was he worked on Flash before he worked on Green Lantern, right?
Just on Iron Heights, which was like a limited series. I think that might have been the first work he did. I haven't followed his career that closely.
There was one where like it was either Ethan wanted to be the guy that brought back both Hal Jordan and Barry Allen. He wanted to bring them. He wanted to be the one that brought them both back. So that's why he left one and did the other. I don't know. I can't remember the order.
I think bringing both of them back was a mistake, honestly.
No, I don't think so. I think, but I guess Wally West fans kind of jilted,
Yeah, well, I mean, Wally became so much his own character. He became a better Flash than Barry ever was. Now, Barry sacrificed himself to save the universe. There's no greater heroic thing than that. He outran all existence to save the world during Crisis on Infinite Earths. But the character that Wally became for 3 decades of real time after that, he became a better Flash, he saved the world more times. He's more instrumental in the Justice League. Like, he becomes such a great character, and then they just sidelined him for at least 10 years, if not more, to bring Barry back.
That's why legacy characters are not a good idea, you know. That's why I don't like legacies. Because you get a situation like that where people want to see Barry Allen, and people also want to see Wally West.
Mm.
And you can't have two Flash titles running at the same time.
No, so then and then you end up with so many. You got
and you end up comparing, like you end up comparing characters and saying, well, who's a better Flash? Is it, Wally West, Barry Allen?
It is Wally.
But
similar with Kyle Rayner, like who he was as a character growing to become Green Lantern, particularly in Ron Mars's run and Morrison's JLA run. Like, that was such a great, well-written character, and now it's all undone. He doesn't matter anymore. He's like Ion or something. He's off in space with the not Guardians of the Galaxy, and he just doesn't matter. All to bring back Hal. Where's the great Hal and Barry stories?
They could have done the emotional spectrum, like, instead of replacing Hal Jordan as the Green Lantern with like another human, John Stewart or whoever, Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner.
I think this guy ended up becoming my favorite of them all, actually. Of all the ones we've done today.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. Stands out from the rest, I think. Which is weird because I would assume that he's the worst designed one off my off my notepad. Maybe it's because you got more kind of
freedom, because it's.
You could always kind of put him in the background, not in the background, but like above them all, flying when we do the lineup.
Cool. Right, well, let's see if we can get the lineup happening.
I imagine this guy being actually kind of diminutive. If not diminutive, squat,
Yeah,
that works, actually, seeing him next to.
Yeah, I'll just make this canvas a bit bigger.
Why are there so many Green Lanterns on Earth, he says.
I'd like to think it's because mankind is more capable of those emotions and that selflessness and that fearlessness. Because, what's that thing? Fear is not courage is the ability to face and overcome your fears. That's what courage is. That's what bravery is. Because nobody's never afraid. Nobody's really fearless. But what does mankind do? They charge the gun line anyway. They come up over the trenches at the whistle sound and go charging into machine gun fire. I don't know if any other race, any other species is quite that. And we're so mortal. We're so mortal and so vulnerable. Almost everything in our environment can kill us. And yet we only live for a short period of time relative to maybe other aliens and stuff. And yet we still risk everything for something we believe in. I don't know if other races have that. Other species.
Was there ever a Green Martian Green Lantern?
That'd be cool.
The Martian Lantern Hunter. The Martian Lantern.
Yeah. I think that'd look cool. That'd be a cool visual with his red eyes. He'd look like a green Abin Sur, I think. Yes, it's a canvas size. Let's make it a bit.
The alien who hands off to Aquila. He's from Mars.
Mm-hmm. And, well, that makes sense because he'd be nearby, wouldn't he? It'd be like the next district over.
Yeah. Martians in my world are kind of mole-like. They're underground. That's why they can't be seen from like NASA satellites and shit like that, because their civilization is all subterranean. I don't know if that's an original idea or not.
It will make sense why we haven't seen anything from our nearest neighbor.
Or, it could just be that Mars rover things are all fake.
Yes.
But that's not.
I'll jump over to Discord and grab that.
I think we need something coming out of the jetpack on the big guy. On
what about just like just glowing energy?
Just so it looks like he's flying,
Yeah, righto. What color do you reckon? Blue?
What colors everywhere? We've already got blue on the page, haven't we?
We don't have any green.
Phosphorus green, yeah.
Like a yellow green?
Are we talking about for the energy or for the alien himself?
Oh, for the energy coming out of the backpack.
Yeah, you could do it like a phosphorus kind of green. That would be a really cool kind of.
Right.
Is it phosphorus that turns green if you put it in a? Aquila doesn't really have a crew. Crazy Mad. Aquila is he's the lone ranger almost of our part of the galaxy. But in some of the other books, he does end up teaming up with other Phoenix Guard from his corps. One of which may have been an old flame of his, an old alien that he dated at one point. I've actually got a story, and I think Kimo really liked this one, where he has to kind of put a team together of other agents, and I've made a bit of an eclectic kind of team that I actually liked that book so much. I almost kind of didn't want to break them up as a team. I thought they were but it goes against the whole concept of the character, I guess. If
like Wolverine, like he works well on a team, he works well on his own, but if he's always on a team, he loses that loner. Okay, he's a part of the X-Men. Does he have to be part of the Avengers, X-Force? Every other iteration of a team in the Marvel universe. So yeah, some loner.
He's been in the what is it? He's been more comics. He's featured in more comics than any other character, or something like that.
Except maybe Batman.
Well, Batman's only really in the Bat Family in the Justice League.
Yeah, and Justice League Dark. Somebody was saying, why is he? Just because he's the world's greatest detective, does that mean that he should be in the Justice League Dark? I'd rather.
Well, that's what's the point in him having apprentices if they don't take over? That would be a good story where Nightwing gets put on the Justice League and he has to kind of fill Bruce's boots in a much more kind of.
They did that in Obsidian Age, where the Justice League all died in the past, and Batman's contingency was to have he picked people. He picked Green Arrow to be like the advisor. He picked Nightwing to be the leader. I think he picked Jason Blood to the powerhouse that is Etrigan to be the replacement Justice League. And Nightwing stepped up and did a great job, and he's constantly doubting himself. Everyone's like, "No, bro, you got the enthusiasm and hope of Superman, but you've got the reality and groundedness of Batman. You're a great leader." And a lot of people say he's one of the most natural leaders in the DC universe. Let's make this bigger again.
Gonna try and blend them together, are we?
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember. I just did it. What is it? Image, canvas size, and we'll make it longer. Width. Let's make it 200%.
Whoa!
I didn't make it 100%. Was the thing I should have done. That's okay. We work with this.
And then maybe pull the Ersatz picture and then put him in the middle with his lads.
Yeah, let's move.
That is true. Lone Ranger did have Tonto. Well, Aquila talks to the computer in his head-up display. His kind of Jarvis, There we go. He needs to be biggest.
Yeah, I think so. He's as tall as he's a bit taller than Pineapple Head, but certainly the largest and the scariest of the lot. And let's grab with that. Be layer 9, wouldn't it? Bring those fellas in.
Do you be able to paint over that background on Ersatz?
Probably not.
No.
I might be able to select it and replace the color, but it's baked in.
Yeah, I know. I've got kind of the same thing in Paint on it. Because I didn't use Photoshop. I think if you hit delete, it'll be all right.
Yeah, I'll just get this stuff unselected so it just keeps its original tones.
Yeah. Can't you lower the percentage?
In what way?
The percentage of delicacy. Is it delicacy? What's the word? How much it picks up.
Oh yeah.
When you select it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to do that. I just tend to do it manually.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that's. Yes, aside from
you've got undo if it doesn't work.
That's right.
Oh.
If we grab...
Tolerance. Thank you, Replicant.
That's the word.
There we go.
And I will let's make this a color layer and see if that... No. All right, what we'll do is make a new layer and make that a color layer. And hopefully that will almost blend. It doesn't quite work, does it? I'm just trying to make this gray here the same gray as the rest of it.
Can't you just use a fill tool and right click it?
You could. It'll be janky.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't that bad.
Man, Chicken Man looks cool. Croc Lesnar looks cool.
Croc Lesnar, that's right.
Gobbo look so cool, man. And I can't wait to see these in the artist's style, because they're gonna be kind of cartoony and it's gonna look so good.
I'll just chuck a line down like I did with the other guys there, just to I think it helps ground the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then it gives you a place to say, well, he's too high or he's too low, and that way you make sure that you're everybody's where they should be. I find I'm impressed when I see people who, they draw a bunch of characters all standing next to each other, and they're all the right height, and their feet are all on the ground at the right. I'm like, I can't do that. I try to do that, and they all end up floating in the air or an inch or two higher. All right.
So you're traveling through space one night, and then these fellas show up. You don't want to mess with any of them,
No, they look like a bad bunch. They look. I mean, they look like space pirates. They look like. What did we decide with the chicken guy, with him being able to fly? Because he's the only one that doesn't have a backpack.
Oh yeah, crap! He needs a backpack. Doesn't need to.
He's got a single rocket. Remember that single egg rocket on the back?
Yeah, but it's not really prominent.
Well, we could do two egg pods. From here, this angle it's a bit tricky. But imagine if you're looking at him from the side, and there's his head, and there's his torso. If he has like a, rocket off the back, almost like the Rocketeer sort of thing.
Because he's kind of because his kind of disposition is kind of janky and like claptrap, ratchet, ratchety. But if he had like three kind of jetpacks almost sort of stuck together, but they're all different looking, So he's got like that middle one, like you suggested, but he's also got like two smaller ones that kind of operate off the side. You know what I mean?
And they're both different to each other?
They're both different to each other, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
kind of get that cool sort of asymmetry without getting,
This has come together nicely, mate. I think this is looking really good.
These guys are it's going to be really good. Need to name them all, though. That's
have fun with that.
Yeah. Well, you know me, I'm pretty good with words.
You are, that's true.
Languages and naming stuff. I mean, I need a name for a character that's like a bear, but not really. Ursats.
Yeah. I think it does come naturally to some people, and other people, their stuff, not their fault, but their stuff sounds really derivative.
Yeah.
And all that sometimes that's by design. I don't know how much you remember of it. It was a couple of years ago now, but we're on Discord and I was putting together all those Golden Age characters. And remember there's that dude that used to pretend to be Rob Liefeld? He's like constantly LARPing as Rob Liefeld. And he was brutal, man. He was just telling people how shit they were all the time. And
Wasn't he LARPing as... Oh, yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. He was also LARPing as... What's the name of that comic reviewer? Begins with L. Linkara.
No.
I think
I've heard the
Linkara.
name, but I don't know who that is.
Yeah. I can't call him Croc Lesnar. I could give him. I could try and figure out a way to,
Well, have you heard how some people call Brock Lesnar? They call him Bork Laser.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, you could call him Croc Laser.
Cork Laser. There's a video game where it's like a wrestling video game, but like all the characters have got it uses like IRL wrestlers, but like because they don't have the licenses, they've had to give them janky kind of names.
And
it's like Randy Orton is like I can't remember. It's called like Ran E. Orton.
Yeah.
They've got the music, and the music is meant to be, Brock Lesnar's got that very distinctive like whistling kind of sound, and then dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
And they've done that, and they've made it like, like 75% the same, but mildly different. I think Brock Lesnar in that is called like Truck something. I
remember in Foley's autobiography, he talked about he's working in one of the Southern Territories, and he said if you didn't look too hard, you'd think that you'd come across a who's who of wrestling superstars. They had Ding Dong Bundy, they had Bulk Hogan. So this promoter was just like ripping everybody's character off and using like dodgy versions of the names. And because it's, back in I suppose the 70s, people weren't really paying attention. There's people who, I don't know, like 70s wasn't that long ago. It's a couple of generations, sure, but it's amazing.
It was only 60 years ago. 50 years ago, sorry.
Yeah. It's only 2 generations. And there's parts of America that back then, I think that still probably operated very similar to how things were nearly 100 years ago. They hadn't changed too much. So I can imagine somebody being fooled by that. A bit cheeky, though. Yeah, these lads have come out looking great.
Yeah.
And almost got 3 different boosters, 3 different packs. Croc Lesnar.
Looks great.
And even the little goblin dude and the mer dude have different, they're both small, but they've got different
gimmicks,
proportions and stuff. Yeah.
No, they all look good. Need to name them. Yeah. Maybe add a bit of maybe is it a bit too late to add a little bit of color to the ones that haven't got any color?
Oh, I don't think so. He just throws just one. What color do you want the Xenomorph head guy to be?
Let's go with like a mint green.
Yep. If I can find him, where is he? There he is. All I can do is I can just chuck a layer on top of him and then just make it a color layer over top so it doesn't affect the mint green. Doesn't affect the tones at all.
You don't really ever see any aliens in mint.
No.
So it's a very underutilized color. Yeah, Replicant, you're right. They have got distinct silhouettes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another important thing. I wasn't conscious about it, but that's something that's come into my own personal design sense over the last couple of years. I think I mentioned before I had a mate. He's passed on now, but he was pretty big in the Australian video game industry, for whatever that's worth. And that was something that he pointed out was the idea that characters should have distinct silhouettes. From a design point of view, so you can identify ally from enemy and that sort of stuff in a video game, he said, but it's just good practice overall.
Yeah.
That's something we've definitely achieved here, which if you've got a natural design sense, it's going to happen anyway, whether you want it to or not.
So good. Sorry. That looks so good. Kind of like Zarbon, actually. Zarbon's the only alien I can really think who's mint green.
Zarbon.
You know Zarbon.
See the one that starts
like,
out beautiful and then turns into a big fat ugly toad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really good gimmick as well, actually.
It is. And the fact that he hates going to that level because
it makes him ugly.
Yeah. That's a great gimmick. And then, his story could be him unifying his 2 sides to become one more powerful side that retains elements of both because he's able to get past the, as he grows as a character, he's able to get past the idea that.
Thanks for the idea. I'm gonna pay tribute to that.
What about a little goblin? Orange, yellowish, sallow,
yellowy. Yeah. Although I want Birdie fella to be yellowy actually.
Okay, well let's chuck some yellow on him and see what we think about. Actually, no, it's not going to work, is it?
Bird fella. I love the idea, but he's just like a little roast chicken in the armor.
That's all fun stuff that you can
play with later on.
Yeah. Red eye back.
Is it Men in Black 1 where they find that the guy has just got a little alien inside of him that operates the suit? It's like in Independence Day as well, where the aliens are like these little grey alien-looking things, and they're not the big like tentacle suits. The tentacle suits are like bio suits that they have to kind of split open. Let's go with maybe pinky purple, kind of magenta on Goblin, maybe.
All right, I'll be right back. Give me 1 minute.
Somebody say something in chat so there's no dead air, and I'm not just talking to myself like a crazy person. Man, all these look so good. Like I feel blessed to actually have a mate like Chemo, who's, like this charitable, like in helping out people, because I would have to just have submitted my crappy little scribbles, and expected expected somebody to just kind of riff on that, and it might not have turned out the way that I wanted it to, and it might not, so it's really, honestly, I'm so thankful, and that Chemo's been able to, Chemo's donated his time and his effort and his ability and his energy to help me in this way. It's like he's honestly that type of generosity, and especially when I see how much a lot of people charge for their services as artists, it really it's made a huge difference to me, and I'm really appreciative of it. And I don't think actually that if I didn't have Chemo egging me on, telling me that I've got skill and I've got the talent and I've got the ability to make it as a writer, I wouldn't be doing this, because I would have just given up. I would have just thought, oh, well, that was a dream that I had one day, and probably it's never going to happen. If I didn't have this guy if this guy didn't have my back, I really would. It's made a lot to me, and I don't want to get into kind of personal stuff, but I've had the worst year of my life.
Yes, you have.
The fact that this is the fact that finally something I've been working on since 2018, nearly 4 years, is coming to fruition. It's it's the saving grace of it's the only good thing that can come out of the end of this year, honestly. So I'm truly thankful. Thank you so much for everything you've done for me, mate.
That's right, brother. I got you. You're my boy.
And yet the pink fin immediately didn't even have to say anything.
I'm just like that.
It looks great.
It works, doesn't it?
What about the rest of them, though?
Yeah.
We need to make fellas glasses, Bret Hart's pink glasses, though. Come on.
What's that?
We need to make Pineapple's glasses pink as well.
Oh, they weren't as pink. They could be pinker. That's true.
I might have to incorporate like Hart or Brett or something into this guy's name.
Turb. Just do it backwards. Turb Tra.
Turb Tra.
I have to think about it.
Well, he's got they have the thing, isn't it? The Hart family dungeon.
Yes.
Where they train all the wrestlers in a what they call a dungeon under their old house. They torture people basically.
It's a rite of passage.
Well, there's a there's a documentary they made about Bret Hart around the Montreal Screwjob. They were filming it when the Montreal Screwjob happened.
Oh, okay.
Which I think kind of lends credence to the idea that the Screwjob was an inside job, work, yeah. Because why would they have all this kind of, planned out almost, I
mean, they still talk about it today.
Oh yeah, I know.
There's still, still new details being revealed about it to this day.
Yeah, but
you can't make the croc dude green. That's too on the nose.
No. What about like a orangey yellow?
Yeah.
An amber?
Yeah, okay. I also think we should maybe go back and stencil a big skull on everybody because you got like 2 or 3 guys with skulls on them. I think if like a big stenciled skull spray painted across
like some kind of graffiti on Birdfella's leg. I actually wanted to bring that up, like Birdfella. Last time I think you went to deal with your kids or something, and I said it'd be a good idea if we put some like graffiti on the leg of the Birdfella. And I never brought it up when you came back.
Yeah, this works. He looks like a bag of lollies, the orange and the pink. That's not a bad thing.
And if anybody, if the color doesn't really work out, we can. Well, it's not going to be color anyway in the comic,
Oh, that's true.
But if it ever does go into color, he's a chameleon kind of thing. You can change color.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can even do like
his species changes color as they age. Like how humans have gray hair when they get older.
Yes, I know all about that. Do like patches of color.
That's a bit extra work.
Bit too. Yeah, well, it is, isn't it?
I like the idea though; it looks good, but it's just extra work, and it could end up with the artist kind of making them look like a cow,
It's true if he doesn't do it right.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking for the graffiti, I don't want to be too Punisher-esque, but like we got a couple of them with a skull motif. Him, this guy, and
you just put a streak right across. Turb, yeah.
we got 3 characters with skull motif. Maybe just chuck a skull somewhere on each one of them to unify the whole thing.
Has got one on his belt.
Yeah, well, there's 3 characters that have got a skull now.
Yeah. All right. So graffiti on Birdfella's leg.
Skull graffiti.
Yeah. With all like the paint kind of like streaked off it almost.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Something they've done it just real haphazard.
Yeah.
So you got to have it somewhere. It's like it's an insignia or a badge, a mark of some other layer. So I can always undo it if we don't like it.
What if it's in white? Do you reckon?
Yeah, it's definitely got that skull look. I don't know if your artist's going to be able to draw this, so it's really hard to do in black and white, just with straight up. Like he doesn't have a lot of tonal range to work with.
Do it in black then. Oh yeah, I know what you're getting at.
I mean, I don't think. Yeah.
Chat, black or white? One for black and 1 for white.
Help chat. What are you doing?
There's only how many people are watching right now?
I think it's well, they say that StreamYard doesn't give you an accurate count.
Yeah, I'm just refreshing the
It's telling us we got 0.
Really? 0? Oh,
That's what it says. So you can't trust it. US wrestling is big in Australia. There is. I'm in the Newcastle area, the Hunter Valley area, and there's a like a local wrestling mob here. I don't know how regular they are in terms of shows. Every now and then, like a couple of times a year, I'll see a banner saying the Newcastle Wrestling League or whatever.
I can think of 4 Australian wrestlers off the top of my head.
Yeah, Murphy,
Buddy Murphy.
Yeah,
the Iconics. Oh, 5, Tony Storm. 6, Rhea Ripley.
Wow.
A lot of girl wrestlers, yeah.
What about Mark Mercedes?
And that fat one.
Mark Mercedes?
No, guy did cartwheel. Bronson Reed.
Oh. I haven't heard of any of them.
No.
He's got a skull. I reckon the gremlin has a skull on the butt of his gun.
Yeah, because that's the only place we can put one.
That's right.
I think the Black Skull actually, the Black Skull gang has a good ring to it.
Yeah. Well, his one's already black.
Yeah.
It's funny. For quite a while now, I wanted to do this sort of like live design stream thing where people just come on and you just, spitball the ideas until it works, until it gets somewhere you want it to be. And I didn't think if anybody turn up for it, I didn't know if it was going to be worthwhile or if it'd be weird because people are like, well, it's my idea, but you're designing it or whatever. But I think partially because we've known each other for so long, that's not even a consideration. It's just like you got some solid designs. I'm just putting a bit of polish on them, and we're just being more specific with some of the details here.
Yeah, I think the skull thing actually limiting it to being black. They don't really show up on a lot of these costumes.
Well, the whole layer is one layer, so we can always just switch it back to white if we want.
Yeah, but then they'd all be white.
Well, we could make them red, like graffiti or like.
It's black and white. You know what?
Pitch the skulls.
Huh? Maybe just like on one of the skirts, You know what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I think so. I'll just move it down and whoops. Great thing about Photoshop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Move it down here.
Yeah, that's exactly actually the one that I was thinking would look best on.
You nearly almost put on his
kneecap.
And I'll put it there, and what I'll do is I'll just shear a little bit off the edge to show that it's going around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep. What about Fish Fella?
Another one that's tricky. Maybe on the shoulder there on the side or on one of the knee pads. I mean, you could put it here, but
remove the thing in the middle of
yep. And just make that.
Yeah, my original plan was that was going to be his voice box, but it doesn't really matter. It's not really
I'll put a microphone in the mouth of the skull.
Oh, there we go.
And he'll just talk that way. Yeah. Let's switch that around.
Skull on the loincloth, that is also an option, yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one too, wouldn't it? Like he's just drawn it on there. Maybe it's like a flag.
I love the microphone in the skull though.
That would explain why he wears the loincloth at all. It's a bit like some of the Warhammer 40k designs, like in Necromunda and stuff with the Orlok gang. There's no reason for these guys to wear loincloths. I mean,
no,
except to mimic like 80 street gangs. What they thought 80 street gangs would look like. What they thought future street gangs would look like back in the 80s, in the future. There's not really any reason to do it, but it's saying it's persevered in all the iterations. What's up, gorgeous girl?
I want something to eat.
You want what?
I want something to eat.
Yeah, I told you come get your breakfast in a minute. Nearly done here.
I just want something while I'm ready.
Okay, well, you think about what you want and I'll come make it for you. Okay.
I'm depriving children of food with my...
She never stops eating all day. She's like, I'm hungry. How can you be hungry? You just ate.
Mm-hmm.
So just put like a little crisscross across there to sort of show.
Yeah.
This little little voice box there. That like you could even have his speech come out of it.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Especially if like he doesn't use, when things are translated and they don't always come out so well.
Yeah.
They don't use verbs. They don't use this. They don't use that. There's certain syntax that's missing. You do something like that.
I know you've never seen Star Wars, but there's in episode 2, there's like this meeting with all these like eclectic aliens, and one of them, he's called Wat Tambo, and he's he's got like this robot mouthpiece that kind of covers his mouth, and he starts speaking, and he says, "The Techno Union Army," and then he starts like changing the frequency on this like control knob on his armor.
Mhm.
And it changes like, "We'll sign your treaty." He's kind of it's like the cool kind of yeah.
Getting to like the right wavelength, especially if it is like a universal translator or something.
The snorkel, man, it doesn't come across as a snorkel, you know.
I'd almost wanted. When I first saw it, I was looking for one on the other side. I thought he needed to have
two.
Yeah, one on the other side to make it symmetrical, and then it was almost like part of a helmet or something that allows him to breathe.
I wanted all the breathing apparatus to be different.
Yeah.
Maybe draw like some like bubbles kind of coming out of it, like oxygen bubbles.
That'd be funny.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, like how they look when they're coming up through the water or through a thick liquid.
Yeah, because he's it needs to get across the base. We need to find a way to get it across that it's a snorkel. Unless it just said the red fish guy has a snorkel. Tell me how that's what. And we've kind of got like all the different animals, haven't we, as well? We've got aquatic, avian, mammalian, insect, mythical goblin, reptile. We've hit all the.
What if you do? I don't know. What if you do a skull to be his skull? Is that too far removed?
It's a bit. It's like Immortan Joe, isn't it?
Yeah. Maybe just on the belt buckle then.
Around the chest, just like where the chest, You know where we were saying before, it needs something, or if it was like an insignia on like a breast patch almost.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
Because he looks like he's kind of got the most uniformy kind of, and he's the most military kind of looking. He's got the heavy arms and stuff.
Yeah, he's the least piecemeal of them all.
Yeah. How do we need to spike that up a bit, don't we?
What's that?
Pineapple fella needs a bit more spiky, maybe. No, he's got the studs. No, leave it.
I'll just chuck some on his shoulders and see what you think. Because these are ridges, so it's pretty easy to just sort of go, well, there's...
Oh, there we go, yeah. Need to put a bit of light on them to just show that they're on the shoulders and not on the backpack. Yeah, there we go. Bueno. Yeah, they've all got skulls now, haven't they?
I think so.
Croc's got a tattoo.
Yeah, he's got one on the... I mean, we give Cactus Guy here a tattoo. If
oh yeah, cactus. Well, he was meant to be a pufferfish, but it does kind of look like a cactus, doesn't it?
I think it's because there's... I don't know if you've ever read China Miéville's work, Potato Street Station.
I have, yeah. When I say I have, I've read one chapter of Potato Street Station, when I learned it to a friend and never got it back. Oh,
definitely grab another copy if you can. It's one of my favorite. Years ago, it was one of my favorite books. I haven't read it for 10 years. I might have changed my mind since then. It's very poetic. It's waxing lyrical. It's I prefer a lot more straightforwardness in my writing these days. I think because that's how I'm writing now, much more straightforward.
Yeah. What were you going to say?
They've got the cactus people in there, so.
He doesn't like using conventional fantasy.
No. But then when he talks about why he chose who he chose, it's all very... He's just like, oh yeah, I heard there's like some bug people in Egyptian mythology, so I just made like bug people. So it says there's no meaning or symbolism. There's no greater thing that he didn't do any research. No, I just heard like bug people, Kepri, That's it. That's the whole. That's the extent of my.
Yeah.
It's disappointing when everything else about his work is so, so clearly a message, so heavily got an agenda.
Thought out, yeah.
Well, I mean, you can't avoid his socialist leanings in the work. You got to sort of go, well, it's that time in history when people were, pushing back against the elite and the rich and the.
Mm-hmm.
So it suits the era, but it's a very left-leaning book. I think that's the lads.
Everyone's done, yeah. Jesus, looks so good, mate. Pineapple needs hair color.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I kind of wanted to make it green, and his skin the pineapple color, but we've already got a couple of people that are that way inclined. So,
what color haven't we got? We've got red, orange, pink, green.
I think we've covered everything. I mean, none of them are particularly. They're all faded colors because you don't want to be too overwhelming with it. But
look, like a pale white with like
a bone white.
Yeah, with like violet kind of hair.
Okay.
You know what I'm kind of.
I think so because white's never really white.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a sort of. Yeah, bone white, ivory white kind of. I mean, the violet really will clash against it. It look really. Yeah,
I think so. And then also with the hair, because what bloody layer is it? Right. There's
layers upon layers upon layers.
When I draw digitally, I will have hundreds of layers because I make a new layer every time I do something different in case it goes wrong, and then I don't always merge them down. And I'll do multiple versions of a character and multiple bits and pieces, so I have several versions. I've got to start naming them. Like everything from here on down is the base, and everything from here on down is the weapons, and it's not a good way to work. But while it's a hassle in a lot of ways, it does save me from having to go back and redraw a whole bunch of stuff because I've always got some version of it saved that I can go back to.
Mm-hmm.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, looks great. They're all very colorful, but they're also still kind of Mad Max looking, and still kind of,
And they don't look like the Wiggles. It's not this overdone.
No, they don't look like the Power Rangers or anything like that. Yeah, it's great.
She's literally come to the door with a bowl and spoon, saying, "I'm ready for food now."
Well, I think that's it then, isn't it? It's time.
That's
Thank you, everyone. Time's up.
10 to 12 over here.
10 to 9 over here.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, now I've got a few things I need to do, like eat. That's a big one. Yeah. All right, man. Thank you very much for all this. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks everyone for turning up. Nearly 3 hours. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good stream. And this doesn't necessarily have to be the last time this happens. There's lots of alien creatures in Aquila. You've got a bunch of other properties that I'm a big fan of. You say, "Oh, here's this character," and I'm like, "This is how I imagine him," and you're very politely like, "Oh, thanks for that, Lee. That's not at all what I imagine, but I dig your stuff, so I'm always happy to do some of this for it." And I remember with your detective type character, if I can just say that without going too much into it.
Yeah.
I'm like, "This is how I imagine him." Like, that's not even in the same stratosphere, but that was okay because it was a fun picture to draw. All right. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.